Bienvenue, mesdames et messieurs, chez Paul Ricard, ici en France. Welcome everyone to round 7 here of the OOR GT3 Sprint Series for Split Ascari at Paul Ricard. I am Alex Bowen, and joining me tonight is JP Sneakers. Hello, Peach.
Bonjour, oui, la baguette, Pepe le Pew, le croissant. Good evening, everyone. That's about as much French as I know. So, yeah, welcome to La Castellet, final round of OOR Sprint Series Season 10.
Yes, we are here, of course, at Paul Ricard. Wonderful track, in my opinion. hosted a very long and wet endurance race earlier on this month.
Yeah, well, wonderful track is, I guess, subjective. It makes for good racing. Sucks for hot lapping, but no, it's definitely it's a fun track to race on, and 8 hours in the wet was definitely a unique experience.
Indeed it was, and well, looking here on board with Ali Kyrun in the Worn Tyre Tribe entry, this is our current Split Ascari leader, and has had a stellar season in that Mercedes.
Yeah, he's really looked pretty unbeatable for the most part. Been very consistent. He hasn't necessarily won the most races. I mean, Matt Lamb has won more races than he has, but he's always finished very well. He's pretty much outperformed the car at quite a few tracks. So it'll be interesting to see if he can do that again today.
Yes, of course. The Mercedes probably not the most ideal car around Paul Ricard, so it will be interesting to see where he ends up. But just having a look at chat, good to see many familiar faces once again. Craig Dale, Peach, of course, Nathan, Hamster, Gorilla, Mad Dog, Damien with the Pouvez-vous à la plus vite. I hope I pronounced that sort of correctly. JC, Alexis Lebon. Very nice. Brad Cook with the bonsoir. Good to see everyone in chat as always.
Yeah, the usual suspects poking their head in. Good to see Gorilla in there. I think from what I understand, he got his first couple of laps into the rig today or yesterday. So the road to recovery is starting well.
That is very good to hear.
Get our first laps in, and Zaskas with a 153.9 as a banker, which is a pretty strong start to what seems to be a pretty competitive qualifying session we are about to see.
Yes, and got Johnson Akers very, very close behind. What, 48 thousandths behind in that BMW compared to Zaskas in the McLaren, so very, very tight at the top. Oh, Hamster! We've got a $20 donation there. In other news, a woman was arrested for illegally operating a battery stand by a local playground. When asked, the police responded, "She sells seashells by the seesaw." Oh no, hold on.
Yeah, boo.
Oh no,
I mean, yay, but boo.
seashells down by the seesaw.
Yeah. Thanks, Hamster, for the money, not for the joke. But yeah, as mentioned in chat, it is ugly livery round. So it's John's time to shine, because that's roughly what he always does. Although we're not allowed to criticize this one too much, as it was designed by his kids. But seeing as I'm their uncle, I can still say it's really, really bad. So yeah, he's definitely already. He might not be leading on the timetable, but he's certainly leading in the ugly livery standings at the moment.
Well, I mean, even if kids designed it, we're still allowed to provide some critique against kids' work, aren't we?
I mean, yeah, but you have to be nice about it. Like, usually you just tell John that he's colorblind and needs to seek help, but with kids you have to like be nice about it and constructive criticism, I guess.
So what would you say? It's unique. Yeah, definitely unique.
It could do with some work, I would say. There's potential. So McLaws obviously didn't get the memo because that is not ugly livery. Yeah, I haven't seen many others that stand out as particularly offensive so far.
Even Bendig's livery is rather mild compared to some of his previous works. He goes up just ahead of McLaws into P8 in the Ferrari. It's a nice close pro-am battle between them.
Charles Clark has practiced this week, which was quite a unique experience for us when he didn't just show up and ask what track he's racing today. So hopefully he'll be in for a good result as well. Wayne Darwin, black and yellow, always works well together, so that's not an offensive livery.
Look at how tight the Pro-Ams are. 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th for Pro-Ams, so very close between them. Of course, in a bit of a sea of pro cars as we look at one of the pro cars, Mike Reel.
Yeah, again, doesn't seem to have received delivery or the memo on deliveries, but yeah, I don't think that Split Ascari is really embracing ugly livery around to the extent that we would like.
Boo.
But yeah. But yeah, so I don't think the top of the table is settled by any stretch at the moment. It's fairly close up the top. Quite a few people still have to set a lap to their potential. So I think we'll see some shuffling going on through the field.
As we always do here in Ascari. It's a very tight split half the time, Ascari. It's super, super competitive.
Yeah, it's good when you have 5 or 6 pros and quite a few pro-ams who can always compete for a win. It makes for some fantastic racing.
Let's have a look at Mike Reel crossing the line shortly. Currently 2.3 seconds off. Where does this put him? No improvement.
Shane McLaws, however, did improve, moved up into P6.
Within a second of the fastest time. McClaw's putting in a nice campaign to get him up into pro class for next season.
Yeah, I to be honest, I was quite surprised that he was a pro-am this season. He raced against him in Split 2 seasons ago, and he was always very, very competitive. So I think that would be a fair promotion. Yeah, quite a few people. I mean, the McLaren, I'm sure Malak is really in favor of those wheels. It's definitely not going to offend him in any way.
Well, I mean, isn't this round purely to offend?
Yes, I agree, but that's... Yeah, I love purple. I always have a purple livery, but that's quite ugly, actually.
Yeah, it's look, the rest of the livery is fine. Oh no, Villanueva. Oh god.
He's still on his pizza livery.
Is that just a Shrek car or something?
My eyes are hurting too much for my brain to think, so I'm not going to be able to say anything constructive here. Jurassic Park vibes, yeah, but is the brown on top where T-Rex wiped his butt with a Porsche, or
no. Anyways, Villanueva coming to the line now. Where does he move? Stays in P9 and drops down into P10.
See, Matt Lamb has done a 53.3.
That is
a very good sign.
That is rapid from Matthew Lamb. Getting that in a qualifying session is no joke, especially in the Porsche. I mean, the Porsches are very, very fast in Sector 3.
Yeah, we were just watching him on board just before and through Science or Scenes Corner, however you pronounce it. Drifting around there, it's not fast enough, looks good though. He was carrying about 245 km/h minimum speed through Scenes Corner. And in the BMW, the best I could muster was a 233. So it's just so far through the high speed stuff.
Are we sure that Porsche doesn't have any illegal ground effect?
I mean, he definitely has to submit no tech, I would say.
Yeah, that, like, holy hell, that is just ridiculous.
More people running out. That looks like a silk cut livery. The beamer there in the front.
Bit of a congestion out of the pits. So Matthew Lamb gets past the BMW with the Ferrari of Ben Deek just a bit behind, who is on a lap. Ben Deek currently second in out of the Pro-Am drivers in this qualifying session.
It's pretty competitive up at the top as well, apart from Matt Lamb, who's obviously moved himself into a class of his own there, but not much in it between the rest of the top 5. John would be hopefully looking to improve because Oscar has a little bit left in the tank. Currently our top AM driver is Ferguson in that silk cut BMW, E22.
Currently looking on with Doug Wilson. Looks like we only have 25 drivers tonight in Ascari, so not a massive attendance for this last round, unfortunately, but we'll continue on. 25 drivers is better than none.
Yep, that's correct. I mean, it's natural. It happens towards the end of the seasons, unfortunately, and especially when you have people who have lost the chance of competing for anything really, they lose a bit of interest. And especially with this bar qualifying and stuff going on, people have some other things to focus on. That looks lively through there.
I reckon that was a bit of a cut, and oh, that Porsche was very, very lively.
Damiano P1 at the moment is a 53.3, so fast, I'd say.
Alien times. It is just pure alien.
The good news for pretty much everybody else is the Porsche, when it's that fast, as we all know, it does have the tendency to want to murder you and all those that are close to you. So
Porsche things.
Yeah, basically. And the straight line speed is not as compromised as it used to be, but it's still not as competitive as you would like it to be. So you might not be leading by the end of the straight on that one.
Yeah, Porsche straight line speed has never been something to be happy about, but we'll have a look at Arnis Zaskas. He's currently in P2. He's had great quality pace throughout the season, to be fair, as Zaskas, as he improves slightly, but still 0.48 of a second off of Lamb, which is just mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's always disheartening when you drive against those type of people and you set a PB and you're still half a second off. And it's like, okay, well, just give up. As we see, Karuden crosses the line. Not really much of an improvement. No, he's a 10th off. John has factored in, Zaskas has factored in, Matt Lamb still on a lap. Is he just trying to rub it in now, or?
I mean, it might as well.
Yeah, he's paying for a 52. Might actually have enough time for one more lap. Cross quickly enough.
It's pretty much needs to get a 52 to be able to cross the line in time.
Oh, just didn't get it, but he does improve to a 53.1.
A 53.1.
Unnecessary.
A 53.1. That is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Hats off, Matthew Lamb. That is rapid.
It's not a 52 though, so I mean, get good. Yeah, no, I mean that's, you can joke about it, but that really is a very, very impressive time. But look how close it is just behind him, really. I mean, Zaska is only a 10th here, Karuden less than a 10th behind John Bettiger. On a lap still, he might still put a nose into that little battle up at the front. He runs a bit wide there. That is not invalid, but not quick, I don't think. Van Vliet still on a lap as well. He might improve. Then it's very close as we go incrementally downfield.
Yeah, a lot of tight gaps when you look beyond Matthew Lamb in P1. Josh Reddick is looking to improve. He really wants to have a good, clean race this time around. Not had the luck this season. Has had the pace, just not the luck. He will cross the line very, very shortly. Can Josh Reddiger improve any positions? He can, up into P4, just ahead of Kai Ruden.
Let's take a look at that. 3 drivers within 5 tenths, 6 tenths of each other. Not 6 tenths, 600, sorry. Nueva pops it up into P6, just ahead of Van Vliet. Van Vliet was unable to improve on his final lap, and there is your starting grid. Matt Lamb, Zaskis, Sonicus, Bettiger, Kai Ruden, Villanueva, Van Fleet, Piper, McLaws, and Ricciuti is your top 10. McLaws, the top Pro-Am in P9.
Yeah, nicely done from McCaws. Again, just showing class in that Pro-Am class. Class in that Pro-Am class.
Yeah, and as we wait for the timer to count down, I'll just go through the points quickly. There's not too many close battles, but there is a fairly potential battle for P2 in the championship between John Sonicus and Matt Lamb. Ali Karudan is a good almost 100 points clear on net points. So unless he has an absolute nightmare of a day, he should be able to seal the deal. But Matt Lamb and John Sonicus, only about a 20-point gap in terms of net points. And then your leading Pro-Am, Shane McLaws, as he showed on track as well, he is leading by about, I'm not sure if Ben Dyke is Pro-Am or not. Is he?
Believe
Is,
so.
sounded right. So yeah, he is currently second. He's about 30 points behind, 29 points. And then we have Andre Sabile, who I didn't see racing, so he'll be losing out. And then in the amp class, we have Ben Ferguson, Nick Davidson, followed by John Stockton as your top threes. So a little bit to play for, not too many close battles for podium positions, but it should still be an interesting development. I mean, these super sprint races are always challenging to score consistent points.
Yes, 100%. You've got so many different variables coming at you in these super sprint races, and it makes them very exciting. Of course, we had a brilliant race here in Ascari last week at Indianapolis. It was mind-blowing to watch that. Hopefully, Ascari can back that up tonight with the addition of a top 12 reverse grid. And I mean, with 25 drivers, that top 12 reverse grid is going to shake things up quite massively, you'd think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it'll be, especially given how close that mid pack was in qualifying, it's going to be quite a bit of rumble tumble down the middle there to see who gets that reverse grid full. So it should be an interesting race. For those unaware, this is a super sprint round, which means we have two races, 20-minute race followed by a 40-minute race that has a top 12 reverse grid. Between the two races, we do have an additional super quali session for everybody who finished P13 and down to set the grid from there. So the race you are about to watch is a 20-minute sprint race.
20 seconds.
A very quick fire 20-minute sprint race. So Matthew Lamb, Marnus Zaskas, and Johnson Akers in the top three here from quali. We only have a short 20-minute race to hold on to those positions, but they'll have all the work to do in the 40-minute reverse grid race, where they have to, where P1, P2, and P3 starts P12, P11, and P10. So a lot on the line.
Another fairly interesting thing to point out as well is there's 5 different manufacturers in the top 5. Like 7 different manufacturers in the top 10, so that's actually quite a good thing to see. That it's fairly balanced. I mean, apart from Matt Lamb, who breaks the balance a little bit in terms of lap times, but still.
Yeah, I mean, at this point we should just give Matt Lamb his own class for poor Ricard, because seems to have a fair chunk of speed, although, as we said earlier, straight line speed of the Porsche not gonna do very kindly for him.
Yeah, when we were watching him in practice, now he might have done a bit of a meme setup for qualifying, we don't know, because generally you need to meme the Porsche up a little bit to make it that fast. But he was doing 276 down the straight without a slipstream. So the setup that I was running is a one-wing setup, and we were doing 281 down the straight. So it's not a massive deficit, but it's big enough to be in danger, especially at the start of the race.
Yeah, at the start of the race with the slipstream effect, you've got to be really careful. But it's definitely possible for Lamb to break away in Sector 1 and hold the lead going into the end of the long back straight here at Paul Ricard.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that this is gonna... Zaskas will play a very important role in terms of managing Matt Lamb in this beginning of this race, he needs to stay close enough to him coming out of the first sector to challenge him into Steen's corner. So it's gonna be an interesting start to this race. JC, I would like to point out that my qualifying lap last night was almost 8 tenths slower than that lap. So
What are you trying to say about your own championship then?
wow, I mean, nothing about my championship, but just to point out the ridiculous speed that Matt Lamb is capable of when he puts laps together.
Yeah, I mean, you're always going to have drivers with different strengths at different times in different splits, so you're never going to have complete equality throughout all the splits at every round, but we get bloody close to it. Of course, this is a bit of an anomaly, but take Matthew Lamb out of the equation and wow, is it close. But
exactly.
we'll be getting underway with this race shortly as the Genesis safety car pulls away and will pull over to the side of the track. It'll be Matthew Lamb from Arnes Daskas, John Sneakers, Josh Bediger, Ali Kai Rudin, Andre Villanueva, Marcus Van Vliet, Benny Piper, Shane McCaws, and Stefano Rasciuti, the top 10 for the start. As we wait for the green flag, they will cross over the tree and they are underway. It's a good start, Matthew Lamb. Looks like there's going to be a bit of 3 wide, maybe 4 wide at the back in the mid-pack. It's going to be very tight going into turn 1. Who breaks latest? Oh, it's John Sneakers trying to go around the outside. That's very, very low on the brakes. Ends up losing out after a really solid start there, but seems like most people are through turn 1 safely. And we are still on the green flag conditions as we jump on board with Marcus Van Vliet, currently in 6th position, just behind Josh Bediger. Keeps it clean, and I think we are through safely so far for lap 1 with Matthew Lamb still leading over Arnes Zaskas and John Sneakers.
And breathe. There was a little bit of a yellow flag at the back there, but it doesn't seem to be too dramatic. Yes, Zaskas with a little bit of a slow start, but John Sneakers walked the first corner, so that allowed him to get back through. You see Benjamin Piper in the Nissan that is just so fast down the straight here.
Here comes the BMW as well, the claws just using that slipstream to brilliant effect up the inside of Villanueva and easily done into Scene corner.
Fantastic move, good opportunity there, just sticking behind Piper in the slipstream. Although Villanueva is up the inside there, should be able to make that stick. The Porsche has great traction out of there and he takes the position back. So nothing too much lost for him there. Try around the outside.
Yeah, Rasciuti trying to have a go, but here comes McClaws once again. Going up the inside of this corner, you've got to be brave, but you've got to really fight for as many positions as possible. And these two are really going out. Villanueva fighting back at Bender Hairpin. But holds the position, but here comes McClaws again with the slipstream. Want to go up the inside of turn 1 as we move on to the second lap of this race. Looking up the inside, gets ahead and will most likely stay ahead through this first corner. Brilliant racing between those two.
Yeah, very good clean racing as we get a replay here of Apreciado. Oh, I don't think he's going to appreciate that little boop there. Oh no, and then everybody boops. Unfortunately, I think that is Ferguson who went around and he will be the biggest loser out of all of that.
Walker Apreciado. More like Wilker not appreciating that one. That was terrible, I apologize.
Yeah, I'll just move on from that as though it didn't happen. Yeah, we're on board here with John Sneakers, not too far behind Zaskas. Closing in on the slipstream. Lamb is already out of slipstream range, so I think the race, unless he has a Porsche def, the race is pretty much over for him. John getting up to 286 in the slipstream. It's not as fast as he would have liked, but he is all over the back of Zaskas, hoping to find a way through at some stage. Yeah, I don't think many people will be challenging Matt Lamb in this race. Villanueva is behind Rasciuti at this stage. and behind Nippers and Claus. So I'm not sure if there was maybe some contact or an incident, but he has dropped a couple of positions there.
Yeah, just a few, but in chat we're getting the usual JC whoopsie poopsie calls coming in. This time from Glenn Peabody Germain. We are shooting up the inside of Nippers. He's got it done.
Not an easy corner to get an overtake done there.
He has got it done, but Nissan, straight line speed, gonna have a look into turn one, but backs out of it. Thinking better of the move, but further in the back row, we've got two Porsches. That's Doug Wilson and Andre Villanueva. Doug was very loose in qualifying, will not want to have moments like that, but currently in prime position to take reverse grid pole. Mike Reel reeling in Doug Wilson.
I have to cheer for Doug here because he made our epic Thanos livery that we used in the Ricard Enduro. So
That was the best livery, hands down, other than the teams from Milk Racing, MRT.
I sense some bias there.
Just a little bit of bias, but Doug Wilson going about as fast as you possibly can in a Porsche with the slipstream from another Porsche up the inside of Villanueva into Scene and gets it done before Scene actually, but runs very wide and Villanueva back up the inside, but Doug rejoins. It's gonna get a track limits warning for that one, but it's still tussle between these two and Villanueva gets it back.
I think Villanueva must be running a fairly low wing setup.
Oh, he's on, there's contact. Just maybe, I don't know where it was, Doug just running a little wide or Villanueva trying to cut back in, but nothing doing it. Oh, that's close between.
Pixels.
Oh, that is. Oh,
there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, okay. I mean, that was fairly predictable, I would say.
Yep, I was just waiting for that to happen. It seemed like it was always inevitable, but really unfortunate for those three drivers. I reckon there'll be a pretty hefty penalty coming the way of.
Was it Wilson or was it Glover? I think it was Glover behind.
I have a feeling it was Glover.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Wilson there. He was in a very tight battle and unfortunately has lost out pretty badly. But nevertheless, the race continued. So far up front, Lamb 2 seconds clear. Sonicus still on the tail of Zaskis. Kairuden has dropped off a little bit with Vettiger, putting some pressure on him. Then further down the field, we have McLaws leading the Pro-Am class. He is well clear of his Pro-Am competitors. But Ben Dyke, Glover, Morgan and McKellar all here in a little choo-choo train, looking fairly competitive.
I think something that's pretty crucial at the moment. Bendy currently in position for reverse grid pole, which will help him massively for the battle in Pro-Am class. But that's
As you
Ferrari.
say that, he moves up
into P11. But still, it would be a front row start as we have a look from McKellar on Morgan. Can't get up the inside, but Morgan himself is looking at Glover and McKellar's around.
Weird one. Okay, maybe got unsettled on that little bump that's there on the inside, but yeah, he won't be happy with that. Ooh, on the rejoin. That was really close.
Ah, I see what you did there.
Yeah, that's lost McKellar a couple of positions there. Of positions lost. McLaren is not doing any of that. Sonicus is past Zaskis. Didn't quite see the move happen, but it must have happened fairly recently, seeing how close Zaskis is to the rear of him. Getting a good view of that rather ugly livery.
Wouldn't be surprised if that happened in the final corner. Just based on the gaps.
Should be an interesting little battle down the straight here now. It returns for the McLaren in slipstream.
Getting the almighty suck from the BMW. As we see some penalties starting to come through. Car 164, 15-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 1. That is Stefano Risciuti. So P9 at the moment will drop him down a fair way. Drop him out of the top 12, meaning he would need to qualify again. Car 244 picks up a 10-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 1 also.
That was Ferguson, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, that would be Ferguson further down in the field.
Yeah, it doesn't seem as though... Ooh, John's a little bit wide there. No, they've just put some little nose in
they
there.
make contact.
So unnecessary, but yeah. A little bit predictable, unfortunately. It's one of those corners where it invites you to put a nose in and you just really, really shouldn't, because it's pretty stupid, unfortunately. But it happens. Wayne Darwin is parked in the parking lot. What has happened here?
I reckon there's a bit of a squeeze that's going to happen. Either that or his gear dies. Something happens though. What?
Towards the end.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. When you turn in and there's a car there, unfortunately you can't go through them. Oh, that's a rather second hand looking Mario with a green flag there.
I will say that probably wasn't the smartest move, turning in on another car there. Got to use that awareness to know that there is still a car on your inside, even if you're in the Honda with great straight line speed. You just got to make sure that you're still aware of those around you. But what that incident between Sneakers and Zaskas has done is it's amped up the battle for the podium, with Kyrou and Vettiger now fighting over P2. Van Vliet trying to catch them as car 164 has another 15-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 1. So that's 30 seconds of penalties for Stefano Risciuti.
It seems like it was a fairly eventful lap 1 from his perspective, at least then. And car 77 as well with a 10-second penalty.
That is Glover for the incident that we saw earlier on involving Doug Wilson and Mike Reel.
Vettiger has been fairly close to Kyrou for quite a few laps, even before the incident with Southgate and Sonicus. So it doesn't seem as though he has the straight line speed to get past Kyrou, but Sonicus closing back up on this little troop here. McLaw's moved up to P7 after the incident as well, so he'll be happy with that.
Yes, McClaw's having another great race, it is to be said, and yeah, really doing nice. But you can see that Kyrou and Vettiger battle just ahead, so they're not too far in front of Van Vliet, Benny Piper, John Sneakers, or Shane McClaws.
Yeah, I think there's still enough time for this whole thing to develop a little bit. Maybe if Vettiger and Kyrou start battling a little bit, it can invite these three to join the battle.
Well, I mean, there's always time for things to develop, and here it's split Ascari. Something always seems to happen late on in the race.
Yep, that is true. Andre Sabille in chat. Andre, I hate to break it to you, mate, but you're in the split. I think you mistimed it.
Just maybe. Just maybe.
Seems as though Kyrou is very strong through that first sector, because every time they get on the straight, the gap is about 6 or so tenths, and that's just a little bit too big to gap with the slip here. And then the final sector, as we've seen, is not an easy place to overtake.
Just having a look further down for the battle for first pole on track. It's currently Sean Glover, but look at all the penalties. Zaskas with 10 seconds, Risciuti with 30 seconds, Glover with 10 seconds as Bendig gets overtaken. Oh no, Bendig's trying to get back on Glover on track. And what this is doing, inviting Josh Morgan back into the frame.
Yeah, and as you said, with the amount of penalties up ahead, the gaps, so I don't think Zaskas is currently at risk of lose or dropping out of the top 12. Gratuity is 100% dropping out with the amount of penalties he currently has, but Glover certainly dropping out. So is Morgan currently the shout for reverse grid pole where he is at the moment? I would hazard a guess to say yes.
At the moment, you'd think so, unless there's other penalties that appear. As Charles Clark gets a 15-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 2, and car
Well.
513 also gets 5 seconds. That is Wayne Darwin. That was on lap 5, so I'd assume that would be.
That was the Honda that was parked at the end of Mistral. So
Yes.
that may have been a lenient penalty just because the car was absolutely bollocks. So catching blue flags already. Are they? Wait.
Blue flags?
Nope. Stop. What are we watching? Lamb is completely clear on track, having a.
I think because he is where Stockton is. It's currently showing as 1 lap down.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, Sonicus has gotten past Piper, or they're side by side through the last timing belt, or what do you call a timing line. Let's see. Sonicus can move back up past Van Fleet as well. The Lambo is quite fast in a straight line here. I found out last night versus Mr. Penfold in a Lambo. So Bendick here doesn't have to do anything too risky. He knows that Glover has that penalty. It might be the smart move just to slot in behind him and hopefully close the gap to the guys ahead a little bit to make up a couple of extra positions.
Yeah, they've got the opportunity to move their way up a little bit more.
Moritz, you have to consider that a lot of people, these are their nice liveries. They just forgot to do an ugly livery. So I don't think we can judge them all on the same standards. Quite a tight battle behind this as well. I mean, we can. We maybe not the best idea, but we certainly can. Just a little bit behind this gap as well. We have Mike Reel, Wood, McKellar, and Clark all very close to each other. I saw them in the final corner there, nose to tail.
Yeah, a few solid battles. I mean, Vediger's still very, very close behind Kai Rudin. Sneakus is catching up to Van Fleet as McCaws has gotten past Piper as well, so McCaws taking advantage of the battles around him. But look at Bendick right behind Glover. This should be very easy down the straight compared to the Porsche. The Ferrari will just fly down the straights. Especially in that slipstream, just watch it.
I'm watching. He's starting to close gap now. Now is the time where the slipstream really comes into play. Glover sort of half-heartedly defends about mid-track. Enough to make Bendick go for the outside. Is he going to be clear by the time they reach the braking? He is not. It's going to be side by side through the scenes. Bendick tries to hang it around the outside, but Glover sticks it on the inside and keeps the position. So that is good defense and good driving by Bendick to stay clean as well.
Bendick just keeping his nose seen by Glover. As Josh Morgan, I thought he was going to have a dive there on Bendick. But look at how close these three are. Talking about nose to tail before, this is really nose to tail. As Josh Morgan up the inside, a second last corner maybe, tries it, but no. It's aggressive driving, but it's clean driving. As gets to switch back out of the final corner. He's going to try and get the drive with the side draft and the slipstream from Glover ahead. And Josh Morgan is going to get past Bendick into turn 1. The Audi is up in the P13.
Next up, good clean racing there by all of them. That is going to put him at a disadvantage now, as he will have to defend down the Mistral. But he does have the slipstream from Glover ahead, so this might be an interesting little battle going down the straight as well.
I mean, Josh Morgan seems to have the pace at the moment to take that reverse grid pole. I mean, it won't be reverse grid pole after penalties, but he wants to get into that P12 position on track. Zaskas now getting past Piper down the Mistral straight into Scene corner, gets it done very easily.
It certainly appears as though Benjamin is running a little bit of a higher wing to make the GTR a bit more pliable through the tight things, the tight sections. And he's not been too rapid on the straight so far. Ooh, this is looking spicy. Michele weaving about behind Wood there, trying to spook him into a mistake. Wood does not shake there. Takes time perfectly, Charles Clark. Just waiting at the back here, maybe something will kick off and we'll get an opportunity to slide through. So far, so good for everybody here. That will be a warning.
I reckon there's a few drivers that will have picked up warnings. Wouldn't be surprised if next race we actually see a drive-through or two. It's so easy to pick up warnings.
In the second race last night I picked up 2 warnings in 1 lap, so it's not a challenging thing to do.
I think in the Enduro I picked up 2 warnings in 1 corner.
Oh, in turn 3, turn 4?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, John did exactly the same thing. We served the drive-through because he got the car with 3 warnings. Got a warning, and then within 2 laps we were back on 3 warnings after serving the drive-through. So it's a fairly easy thing to do. As we are on board here with John. Ooh, that's very wide from front feet there. He does try to put it back in. Interesting to see if John can pull the gap down the straight. I don't think he's close enough to make anything happen.
Well,
this will be the final lap.
Yep, this is the final lap of this 20-minute race. Of course, with the reverse grid 40-minute race just after this, but Sneak is catching, but won't be enough. Can he try and get a move somewhere in Sector 3? He's got a nice run, but it's going to be tough to get a move on Van Vliet. That Lamborghini is pretty rapid. Still holding super close. I just don't think he's going to quite get there, but Matthew Lamb, faultless race from him. He's been driving with finesse the past few weeks.
Yeah, when the car doesn't murder him, he's generally at the pointy end. This time the car seems to have been fairly pliable. Will John try and send it? No, Marcus does defend though. That's going to compromise both of their lines out of there, but Marcus does enough to hold the position. Matthew Lamb takes the win. Ali Karuren in P2, Joshua Vettiger P3. Marcus van Vliet, that's what I want to say, sorry. Ross is in P4, John Sonicus in P5, Shane McLaws leading Pro-Am with a fantastic result there, P6. Gaskas crossing the line in P7, but he does have a 10-second penalty that will drop him down about 3 or 4 positions, followed by Piper, Richuti, Niparis, and Villanueva. So, Josh Morgan crossing in P12, but I think this is going to be a little bit of math to figure out who's actually on reverse grid pole here.
I think the math is pretty clear. I reckon it will be Bendig on reverse grid pole after Rashuti's 30-second penalty and Glover's 10-second penalty. And it is Bendig on reverse grid pole.
Fantastic stuff. As we see, that penalty for Richuti has dropped him all the way down to P20. Yeah, a couple of the faster drivers getting knocked out here, so they'll be up the pointy end in the super quali.
Yes, we do go into a super qualifying, so anyone who did not finish in the top 12 of the previous race, so from 13th down, will have the opportunity to qualify in a bit of a nicer spot. So this will decide the grid from 13th all the way down to last. See, oh, bit of contact on the pit exit there. That interesting.
Is his Honda still broken? Did they not have enough time to repair it between races? Or?
That's the thing, he was out on track at the end of the race. So I don't know what's happened there.
It's happened to me before that you press the pit limiter and it double clicks and it turns it back on. So I'm not sure if maybe did that or something and then got hit. I'm not sure, but anyway, we continue. Following Stefano here, he'll be hoping for a slightly cleaner start to race number 2. Bit of a eventful lap 1. I reckon if we're gonna make predictions for Super Quali Pole, who's your money on?
What's that?
So if we're making predictions for Super Quali pole position, who are we putting our money on?
Ooh. Well, I mean, Charles Clark has actually done some practice this time around, so I wouldn't be surprised if he puts himself a bit further up. Of course, can't discount Stefano Rasciuti. But I reckon Charles Clark might take the spoils here in Super Qualifying.
Well then, just for the sake of being different, I'll stick with Ricciuti. He would have been my call. So should be interesting. Both of them very fast drivers. I'm sure Ricciuti will be regretting that first race. He's generally a very clean driver, so we're hoping to make amends come round 2. Yeah, it was always a little bit of a. It's a good thing for the drivers because it gives you a second opportunity to have a fairly good starting position, but it also places a little bit of extra pressure as it's a shorter session. So it'll be interesting to see who pops it up near the top.
Looking on board with Stefano Rasciuti's Lamborghini now. It's a short qualifying session, this one, for Super Qualifying.
It's quite interesting. I was looking at the real life lap records here, and the current real life lap record is a 1:53.75. It was done in an Aston Martin about 3 years ago. It's good to see that the times, I mean, usually in games, the in-game times are usually quite a bit ahead of real life records, but it's a fairly close cut thing here actually, not too big of a discrepancy.
Yeah, it seems to be closer than a few other tracks.
I mean, the fastest time I've seen around here is a 52.1, which was coincidentally also done in a Porsche. But that
Porsche
was,
things.
yeah, that was before the latest updates. So I'm not sure what the super duper crazy aliens are doing these days.
I think the fastest I've seen most recently was a mid 52 or something, or mid to high 52 is somewhere along those lines.
Okay, yeah, I mean, they suck. They just don't help my self-esteem at all. But see Ricciuti here, coming around the final corner on his first lap. He'll have enough time for about 2 more laps. What will his bank to do? It's going to look like a low 55, very high 54. Hoping to improve upon that.
Yes, plenty of time to improve there for Stefano Rasciuti. Of course, a lot of these drivers will just be glad that Paul Ricard is in fact dry tonight, not absolutely pissing it down with rain.
I can promise you that the people in the BMWs are hoping for some rain.
Wow, really?
The nice thing about the BMW is you don't have to change anything for the wet. You just pretty much drive exactly the same setup, the same traction control, and it just
Yeah.
so easy to adapt.
Yeah, I guess it sort of was like a bit like that in the Enduro. But currently McKellar on a 54.8 is on provisional Super Qualifying P13.
Was he involved in an incident? I think he was involved in an incident in the first race, so he'll be looking to get back up there.
I believe he was down in P15 by the end of the race after penalties. Still waiting for a few drivers to set a time. We'll only have 9 drivers setting a time so far, with a few more to go. With Doug Wilson, Charles Clark, Mike Reel, Sean Glover.
It was a very easy track to invalidate when you're on a very good lap. Not that any of us have ever done that. It's not frustrating at all. As we see Charles Clark there, only 2 tenths down on McKellar. Chuti improves to a 54.5.
Starting to get a bit quicker there. Still a little ways to go. They want to get a 53, but they're getting a 53 is pretty rapid anyways.
Yeah, I mean, even in quali 1, there was only about 3 or 4 cars who managed that. So Chuti qualified, I think, around P8 or 9. I'd be very surprised if we see him dip into the 53s, but how fast a driver he is, it's not outside the realms of possibility. We see Doug Wilson coming around the final couple of corners here.
I think Jake McCullough went to the top just 500ths ahead of Rashuti once again. So McCullough showing some solid pace in this super qualifying session with his take a look at Doug Wilson, goes up into P7, about 1.2 seconds off the pace.
Nice little ding-dong battle at the top there between McKellar and Richuti. Richuti is still on a lap, and I assume McKellar is coming onto the straight, I think. So that would be the last lap for both of them. Richuti is in the final sector, but has a little bit of traffic ahead of him. Hopefully it doesn't affect him too much. Charles Clark here coming into the last couple of corners. He'll be looking to improve. He does have to find a fair chunk of time to top McKellar and Richuti.
Yes, definitely a little bit of time needs to be found by Charles Clark to get on top of those two at the top, but it's certainly possible as he rounds the final corner. Charles Clark will come to the line very, very shortly. Any improvement? Oh, not quite.
Well, he improved. Just not enough. So close up, but Richuti does fairly large improvement. He does a 54.287. Will McKellar be able to answer that? No, McKellar has invalidated, so that will be your top 3. Unless
Preciado has something. Preciado coming to the line now. Can he come to? No, not quite. So Rashuti will start P13, McKellar 14th, and Clark 15th. So this is your order from 13th down to 25th from memory. So now we wait again. This time going into a 40-minute race with the top 12 reversed and P13 down as the results from that super qualifying session, which means it'll be Rashuti 13th.
Yep, I shall be back in just 2 seconds.
All good. Hearing a lot of love for Paul Ricard in the chats. Specifically from Glenn Tully. Nice to have you here, Glenn. And JC enjoying that wonderful comments left by Glenn about Paul Ricard. Moritz saying Bendik specifically looks pretty good compared to what we're used to. Yeah, Bendik has had a really solid season. He's second in Pro-Ams. He's been quietly consistent. He's been just going about his job nicely. He's been really, really solid and showing it once again as he will be starting from reverse grid pole in this one. So can Bendik hold on in that Ferrari for a possible race win? That is the question. Megan D, always with the wonderful opinions. Paul Ricard, a top 3 truck without a doubt. I would 100% agree. Now, JC, tonight is ugly livery night. Well, ugly livery round. So, do you want my favorite livery or do you want my least favorite livery going with the theme of tonight? I mean, if you're looking at favorite livery, I mean, I can't really go past the Kairoon Mercedes. I mean, I'm a sucker for pink, blue, and white. I will always love a bit of pink, blue, and white. I mean, if you're looking at ugliness, Villanueva. Villanueva's livery is interesting.
What's wrong with the Jurassic Park TP?
It just hurts my eyes.
I think if we're talking like favorite liveries in terms of actually looking good, that Ferguson silk cut inspired BMW definitely does it for me.
Doug Wilson's livery is pretty good in that Porsche too. The purple and the almost like mint green.
Yeah, that's always good. I mean, like I said, I love a good purple livery. And the green always complements the purple quite nicely. But he does have purple wheels, which I think may offend certain people. Cough, cough, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Oh.
I mean, it can work. It can work if you have them in the right circumstances. We get underway for the formation lap now. The Janessa safety car gets underway, and the grid will start to form. Of course, it will be Bendig from reverse grid pole.
He'll certainly be looking to try and build a little bit of a gap early. I mean, 40 minutes is a fairly long race. Nobody else is currently moving, so hopefully, there we go. People have started going. But yeah, Bendik will try and get away up the front there and potentially build a big enough gap so that the fast guys coming through aren't able to catch up, if they survive lap 1, of course.
Yes.
Also,
Who do you think will come out on top in this one? Paige?
I mean, it's based on how dominant Lamb was in race 1. He's certainly a good shout, but I think Vasquez and John Sonicus both in with good shouts, seeing as they were dropped down to order a little bit. I think they have a potential benefit there, just starting a little bit further up the grid.
I think Zaskas ended up finishing P8, which means he will start in P5 for this one.
Yeah, so and I think John is starting with P8 or something like that, so that gives them a little bit of a boost over the likes of Kairuden and Lamb and the other fast guys they were competing with. So I'm gonna put my money on Vasquez to get his debut win, or his maiden win. As much as I would like to see John win, I'm gonna say Vasquez might have the pace here to get it done.
I'm gonna put a bit of money on a Matt Nepris. I reckon he can utilize the straight line speed and this is on the back straight to get past those ahead quickly and use it to defend nicely from those behind.
That's certainly a fair shout. He has shown some very good pace, so definitely in with a chance.
I mean, Matt Nepris has always been a very, very solid driver. He's always had pace in the seasons that he's participated in. He will be starting P4 just ahead of Zaskas. Question is, can Lamb, Kairuden and Vediger, the podium from last race, fly through the field and get towards the front?
I think this is where Lamb is probably at a slight disadvantage against especially Kairuden, just as we mentioned in the first race, that top speed difference. I think the AMG and the Ferrari is just a little bit faster, so it might make overtaking slightly easier for them. But then again, the amount of speed that Lamb is able to carry through sector 1 and 3, I'm sure he'll be able to slide through the field fairly effectively.
Yeah, I mean, provided Lamb is just able to get some of the moves done early, definitely want to try and get a better start compared to those around him. Try and break past Kairuden if possible. But we will see what happens. I will let you take this race start, Peach.
Thank you very much. As we see them coming into the second last corner, we have Mitchell Bendyk and Morgan on the front row, Villanueva, Niparis, Zaskas, Piper, McLaws, Sonicus, Fun Fleet, and Bettiger is your top 10. It will, of course, be a little bit of a delayed start as the pole sitter for the previous qualifying is starting in P13. But we are crossing the start-finish line. Bendik leading them across. Richuti is crossing the line right about now. That should go green. Bettiger at the back there seems to have had a little bit of a slow start. Bendijk up front with a good start. Nobody seems to be... Oh, we see Villanueva trying to poke a nose up in the inside there. Free wide through turn 1. They make it work somehow. Bendijk comes out on top. Villanueva gets past Morgan. We have Nippers in P4. That is Zaskus up into P5. Piper and McLaws side by side. So is Sonicus and Kairuden. Kairuden on the outside there. He gets a little bit compromised. Sonicus still on the outside of McLaws. He'll be looking for a move up the inside of the hairpin. Seems to have stayed side by side. Very close, very clean so far by everybody through the field. As we come onto the Mistral Straight for the first time. It's about 3-4 wide there by a couple of people. Going to be a very interesting run down the middle. Oh, that's a bit of an incident there with Bettiger, but he seems to have saved it. Kairuden right on the tail of McLaws here. That is not Sonicus. Everybody nose to tail. AMG seems to have the legs. Sonicus trying to make it 3 wide on the outside of Piper and Zaskus. That is risky. Kairuden moves out of the slipstream, looks for a move. Sonicus still on the outside of Zaskus. Zaskus squeezes him wide. Piper with an epic drift saves it. Kairuden goes very wide. McLaws goes fairly wide. Kairuden with the overtake. Matt Lamb moves in ahead of Benjamin Piper. That is some fantastic racing by everybody to avoid contact.
Hats off Split Ascari, showing us once again why Ascari has been considered one of the safest splits, and never mind, I mixed it.
You were saying?
Maybe I'll just keep quiet now, but anyways, it's Bendik from Villanueva. Villanueva had a lightning start, but just couldn't get up the inside of Bendik. But look at how close this is. Villanueva getting the slipstream, gonna have a go up the inside. Turn 1 on Bendik. Oh, it's gonna be tight, but I think Villanueva's got a low. Bendik's still got the nose hanging in there of the Ferrari. But I think Villanueva's just gonna get the run, and has it. But here comes Josh Morgan up the inside of Bendik. Bendik is not gonna be very happy right now. Gone from P1 to P3 in the span of a few corners, and now Josh Morgan is going to have the straight line speed and slipstream on Villanueva to try and move up into P1 himself. But it's a bit of a pack between these four, with Sneakers and McCaws not too far back, with Zaskus and Kairuden and Lamb in there as well.
I think Zaskus may have made a mistake there. He dropped behind Sonicus and McLaws. Not sure if there was some helping involved, but yeah, he's lost 2 positions and he's in the process of potentially losing another to Kairuden. Looks as though that AMG just runs out of steam a little bit as soon as it moves out of the slipstream. Speaking of slipstream, Matt Lamb stays 3 wide, seems fun into Scene's corner. Will anybody pull out? Ooh, Matt Lamb late on the brakes, but he does pull it out. That's certainly a warning from Zaskus there, but no contact made by anybody, so it very nearly into the back of Lamb.
Nearly had your own commentator curse there.
I was talking about the other 3 being clean. I didn't include Van Vliet in that, so he that would have been a late addition to the curse.
Yeah, but look at Sneakers already on the back of this train, but it's gonna take a fair effort to get past, although he did have a bit of practice in the previous race trying to get past a few cars, including Ben Piper, after the incident he had with Zaskus. He's got much more time this race to try and make some moves, but currently it's Villanueva from Morgan, Bendik, Nipris, Sneakers, McLaws, Zaskus, Kairuden, Lamb, and Bettiger, your top 10.
A bit of epic drone action here from the producer. Great stuff. Getting a pretty awesome bird's eye view of this little battle here. Lamb getting a bit of a poor run through turn 1-2 there, so he drops off the back of Kairuden a little bit, but Kairuden is all over the back of Zaskus. Speaking of all over the back, Sonic is very close to Nipris here. He'll be looking to get a run down the straight, although Nipris will have slipstream from Bendik ahead. Quite a few people here making moves, trying to move up the field.
These reverse grid races always provide action with the faster drivers looking to move their way up. But out front, looks like Morgan's got the nice slipstream on Villanueva and is maybe going to have a look. No, too far back, but they've been able to break free a bit from Bendik. And Nepris has gotten past Bendik, so now Nepris, using the Nissan straight line speed, should be able to fly. But there's a few battles going on as Mike Real gets closer. There's a big crash!
That was a big slap. Okay, kept it out of the wall. Fortunately, there's about 99 acres there to keep it out of the wall. Sonicus.
Oh, look at this.
Nippers is behind Bendik again, so maybe he ran a bit wide on the long.
Oh.
A little bit of contact there.
Here comes McCaws now on Nepris. Nepris got to be careful not to lose more positions, though. McCaws runs a bit deep, but he's still got the nose there. Oh no. Oh.
Not again. Honestly, people, you just don't poke a nose in like that.
John Sneakers. Oh, he's just
not happy.
He's not had the luck. So we have a 10-second stop-go penalty for 277. Unsafe rejoin on lap 1. That is a big penalty.
A little bit of oof. I didn't see that where it happened, but yeah.
Well, 277 is right at the back of the field.
277 is currently a yellow flag, so he's got a bit of an oopsie all by himself there, I think.
Whoopsie poopsie, you mean?
If you're alone, I think it's only an oopsie. It's when you hit somebody else, that's the poopsie.
Well, if it was an unsafe rejoin that caused that stop go to 10, that was definitely a whoopsie poopsie, but that is James Park who's coming into the pits. Meanwhile,
Villanueva has gotten. No, he was ahead of Morgan, so Morgan's still fairly close to him. I think we're going to see a fairly angry John try and make his way through the field now. Oh, that's fairly wide from Vetica there. Maybe pulled it in time to avoid the warning. McLaws very close to the back of Ruden there. Lamb trying to poke a nose up the inside. He makes it work. McLaws under pressure from Vetica now. Squeezes him a little bit. Not an easy place to go around the outside. But he says, easy for me. And he sticks it around there, but McLaws gets a good run out of there. John will try and avoid too much danger here. Still side by Vetica and McLaws. Vetica will have the inside into the final corner, but he will have a pretty poor run out of there.
But he does box McCaws out nicely, but McCaws still gets that run. But he's going to have to go around the outside, and here comes John. Be driving angry at the moment, but McCaws around the outside. These two are having a great ding-dong battle, but Vetica gets it done, and now John will want to get past McCaws quickly.
Because in all this, it's allowed Garuden and Lamb to make up some free position. They'll have an easier time of potentially getting up to the top step of the podium again. Gets very close to Sonicus there in the braking zone. I think he'll be having some PTSD from a couple of minutes ago with people coming so close to the rear. Let's see if he's able to do anything against McLaws down the straight here. McLaws, of course, does have slipstream from Vetica up ahead, so might be a fairly evenly matched battle. McLaws closing on Vetica though. Slowly but surely, but I don't think he's close enough to make something happen, although I might be wrong. He's closing very quickly towards the end. Vetica the fence on the inside. Not quite close enough to make anything work, but tries to compromise Vetica into Cian's corner. Ends up compromising himself, which allows John to get very close up the rear, but stays out of contact zone. And he gets a move done up the inside. So Oscar trying to follow him through. Hopefully he does pull out this time. He does not, and does a repeat of race 1. He loses out big time there. McLaws stays straight.
Few penalties coming in now. Nepris, Ferguson, Glover getting 10-second penalties. Zaskas not learning his lesson from race 1, trying to do the same thing and gets the same result. wanna think better of it next time, I reckon.
Yeah, if you always do what you always did, you'll always get what you always got, I guess, is the saying, as they say. So, yeah, makes the same mistake there. Somebody was dropping down the order a little bit there. I think the timing board was just having a bit of an aneurysm. But, yeah, so Nipper is getting that penalty for the contact a little bit earlier. Ferguson and Glover, we did not see the incidents, but assuming it was just a bit of argy-bargy.
Further up, Kyrun's gotten past Bendik, and Lamb's about to get past Bendik as well, and I reckon has already got past him. Have a look at the split, and yep, Lamb past Bendik, so Bendik dropping back. You think McClaws has that Pro-Am title snatched up now?
Yeah, pretty much, especially with his strong result in the third round as well. Just needs to finish roughly where he is now, and I think he will seal the deal. Quite a spicy little battle here between who is at Nippers leading the train with Charles Clark, Van Vliet, Zaskis, Mike Real at the back here. See them make it too wide, that's Van Vliet on Clark. Just drives straight past him with that Lambo straight speed, or straight line speed. Zaskis puts a nose up in there, hopefully pulls out. No, he leaves it in there, forcing Charles Clark to take evasive action and gets the move done.
Yeah, it's not easy to get moves done as Clark. Big oversteer, Ferrari moment. Van Vliet, gets the curb. You can see the effect of the Sussex curve there. And Zaskis, in the process of being able to get past Van Vliet, back up into the top 10.
That was very close to contact here, as we see Wettige on the back of Bendijk now. Bendijk slowly but surely is falling down the top 10 after a good start. It is, of course, the problem, or not the problem, but the reality of these races is the faster guy will eventually catch up to you, and then it's up to you to be able to keep them behind. So far, it has not been successful to stay in the top 5. He's in the top 5 for now, but big moment there for Wettige.
Zach Graham, you've updated your graphics driver just before the Becketts race. Not the most ideal thing to do, I won't lie. You don't really want to try and change anything so close to a race, do you?
No, I don't think that is ideal. We updated the G-Hub this week and it completely broke the force feedback on the G29, so that was fun. Yeah, exactly. With a very good run here on Bendik. Bendik a little bit too late to move over in the pen.
Look at how close these two are, side by side. Almost rubbing wheels.
Fast. Will they make it side by side through there? It's always a tricky endeavor.
And here comes John.
John trying to pull it out fairly early, almost getting rear-ended there by McLaws, probably not expecting that.
Yeah, Bendik's just getting eaten up here.
We'll certainly be looking to dispatch him as quickly as possible. I'm sure we'll see Wettige just fairly quickly building that gap. So John would not want to lose too much time. McLaws will also be looking to follow him through.
I mean, if McCaws gets past Bendik, then it's pretty much game, set and match for Pro-Ams.
Yeah, I would say that would pretty much end any sort of potential comeback for Bendik.
Would have to be a fairly big accident for those ahead. For Bendik to gain back points enough, or gain back enough points from McClaws.
Morgan is ahead of Villanueva again, I think.
Yeah,
right.
Morgan's been able to get the proof done, but Kyruden is right there.
Yep,
so
the gap has come down very quickly.
So we will see where they can hold on to it. Of course, it's relatively easy to get past people at Paul Ricard, provided you have the slipstream.
Yeah, it has its sort of own version of DRS trains from time to time if people are fairly evenly matched in slipstreams. But yeah, generally it's probably one of the easier tracks on ACC to generate overtakes. So John's going to
Yeah.
just move out of the slipstream there on the inside of Van Dyke into Scene's corner. Camera waits. They are still side by side, but John will have the inside into the long right-hander. Gets the move done, and he and Vettiger can start moving forward, trying to close that gap to Lamb, which is sitting at about 4.2 seconds at the moment.
Glover's picked up another 15 seconds, so up to 25 seconds. But look at this battle pack. That's very tight from that's Josh Breen all the way down to Wayne Darwin, even Charles Clark. Charles Clark has dropped back a fair way after his accident earlier on. The Ferrari things.
The car equivalent of a high side, basically.
Yes. Anyone who watches motorbikes, I hope you enjoyed that.
He'll be looking to dispatch this little train here, but it's a fairly large train with some quick drivers in it, so it's not going to be easy. But yeah, Caruden right on the back of Villanueva now. Villanueva dropped back a little bit from Morgan up the front. Lamb very close to Caruden, so
Villanueva's just caught right back up to Morgan again. So Morgan keeping Villanueva in that slipstream to make sure that Kyrone can't get a move done. Although doesn't look like Villanueva's using it. He's just letting them go because Lamb's in that battle, does not want to interrupt them. Car 58 picks up 10 seconds. That is Neil Wood. A few further back picking up penalties, but Villanueva's let Kyruden and Lamb go, so that means Lamb can have a nice go here on the Mercedes of Kyruden. But Josh Morgan in the lead of this race, only joined this season, is looking very nice out front.
Yeah, he certainly seemed strong. A lot of the times you see sort of pro-am drivers starting on pole position on a reverse grid and they drop down fairly quickly, but he's done very well to build a gap and hold his own amongst the pro drivers up to pointy end. He'll be looking to put up a staunch defense to these guys, but Caruden and Lamb are two guys where it's very Thanos-like in terms of they're just sort of inevitable that they will somehow find a way through.
The end is always inevitable when you have Kyruden and Lamb behind you. Provided Morgan still has every chance to stay on that podium with Villanueva, Vettiger and Sinikas behind. Of course, Sinikas making his way back up the field, but already about halfway through this race, so still has a fair amount of work if he wants to get onto the podium. You'd think, yeah, move is inevitable here, but we did see before that the Mercedes just loses drive once moving out of the slipstream, so we will see what happens. But Kyruden is going to have a little bit of a slipstream, but Lamb is right there with Kyruden, and well, I think Lamb's going to have a look. Possibly not into scene, although he's gaining. He is gaining. He's going to have a look on the inside, and they're going to go 3 wide. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. This is not going to end well. Josh Morgan loses out. Has to run wide, trying to hold on. And Kyruden and Lamb are through. Somehow they all got through there.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how that happened. I think they broke the laws of physics, but all of them avoided contact, so that's good news. Bad news for Kyruden is Lamb made it through immediately, so he's going to keep piling on the pressure. All the while, Vettiger and Sonicus has closed the gap on Villanueva to about 2.7 seconds, so they're doing enough, but they're not doing enough to catch these top 3, I don't think. But it's going to be an interesting last 20 minutes to see what shakes out in the top 5 here.
Yeah, there's still a lot that needs to shake out. It's still half of the race to go. Gone through 120 minutes. We've just about to finish another 20 minutes, and we've got one more 20 minutes to go for Ascari this season. Of course, we have split Becketts coming up very, very shortly.
They'll be providing some content, as they generally do.
And yeah, what will likely be crossing to them at the end of their qualifying session.
Yeah, Lamb is all over them. Look at the gap they've already built to Morgan and Villanueva. Morgan is behind Villanueva again.
I reckon Morgan's made a mistake somewhere, because yeah, that's a very, very large gap.
Yeah, they were going side by side through turn 1 and 2, so I'm not sure if they just compromised each other there.
But here comes Matthew Lamb in the slipstream with the Mercedes. This is the only way that the Porsche can get any form of straight line speed, but even then, not really gaining much, is it? Has a look around the outside, but you're not going to get anything there. But on the exit, look at the Porsche fly. And it's going to be close, but I think Kairoon's just going to hold on for now. So Kairoon holds that position for the moment, but Lamb is pressuring.
I think the problem Matt Lamb will have is being so close through Steen's corner will really compromise that top speed advantage that he has going through there. So it's almost maybe worth the risk of just dropping down ever so slightly before the corner to try and carry that speed through and potentially get a good run into the following corner, as Kairoon runs a little bit wide there in the final corner. Lamb is all over him, and a battle of 4 is developing right behind them, so I'm assuming Vettiger and Sonic will try and make their way through, but Lamb trying to go around the outside of turn 1 here, not an easy move to do. He is the type of driver who's able to do that kind of thing, but in this case he does the smart thing and pulls out of it, kicks back in behind Kairoon, and they keep fighting.
Still got the run though, so he is not going to back down from an assault, is Matthew Lamb.
Yeah, I suspect Kairoon is in for a very sweaty 8 minutes, 18 minutes if this continues.
Yes, so I mean, we did mention earlier that the Mercedes probably not the strongest car around here. I mean, the Porsche just absolutely flies through these corners. And in the slipstream, the Mercedes gives a very good slipstream, of course. So Lamb gaining slightly. This is probably the closest he's been, and he's going to have a look. Where's he going to go, inside or outside? He's sticking there. He's going to go around the outside again to try and get the better exit, but backs out of it slightly. Lets Kairoon have a bit of the line, but Lamb, look at the speed through Steen corner, and he's going to look up the inside, but Kairoon defends nicely. Kairoon still holding on somehow.
Fantastic driving there by both of them. Kairoon placing the car in all the right places. Matt Lamb going this way, that way, trying everything he can, making that Porsche as big as possible. But Kairoon is just such a good defender that it's Matt Lamb is going to have to do something fairly special to get this overtake done, I would say.
In other news, Johnson Ekus has gotten past both Joshua Morgan and Josh Vettiger.
Okay, that was must have been a fairly exciting battle between the three of them there. As we see, Van Dijk is now behind Zaskis as well, under pressure from Rio and Apreciado not too far behind that.
Back to the lead battle. This is what we're looking at as we have Matthew Lamb looking on board the Porsche. Let's see where the alien is gaining the time.
Everywhere.
Everywhere but the straights.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm sure he'll still. Okay, if we can stay on board here, I'm gonna bet he's gonna do 283 in this division.
I reckon it'll be about 282. But let's have a look. Slipstream activated. Will it be interrupted? We're up to 250 in 6th gear. That is 260. Still gaining slightly, still gaining 270, 275, 276, 7. We're up to 280 as he pulls out of the slipstream.
Pulled out a bit early there, unfortunately. But yeah, he just does not have the straight line speed to get past that Mercedes. Wouldn't be so. Ooh, McLaw's up the inside of Morgan. A
Oh,
little bit of contact there. Ooh, drive through for John Sonicus. That would be track limits, as that hasn't shown up. So, not gonna be too pleased about that, I would say.
just pushing that little bit too hard, most likely trying to make those positions, but I did say we're probably going to see 1 or 2 drive-throughs this race as Mike Reel wants to get a move done on Bendig, but yeah, unfortunate for Zanekas, that blows his chances this race, because going through pit lane at Paul Ricard is a long affair. It is probably one of the longest pit lanes other than Spa. I mean, Spa is ridiculous.
And Indy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I don't think anything beats Spa really, as we see John there dropping down to P12 already. He'll drop another couple of positions as well.
I think just a round of what could have been for John Sneakers. Has shown a lot of good pace, but it's just been really unlucky with incidents happening around him. As here we have Appreciado on Mike Reel. So Reel putting pressure on Bendig, Appreciado putting pressure on Reel, and Mikel putting pressure on Appreciado. And look, Zaskas isn't flying away from Bendig either, so Bendig gets some pace into that Ferrari, which is broken away a little bit from Reel. Might have a go at Zaskas again, as look at Villanueva in P3, and this battle further back, Josh Morgan, Shane McCaws. As here comes McKellar on Appreciado, 2 McLarens going side by side. Back on the Mistral, gonna go side by side through Scene Corner, you'd suspect, or will Appreciado back out of it? He will, so McKellar gets the move done as we have more drive-throughs. Morgan and Zaskas both have drive-throughs.
Okay.
Drive-throughs and track
surprise.
limits are becoming a factor in this race.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a couple of other drivers in that top 10, maybe sitting on 2 or 3 warnings as well. As we see Regress in chat saying he's had enough of this track after a big sprint in the Porsche. We were on board with you during quali and it looked like a handful, so not too surprising. And Gorilla saying that the damage on John's car made him lose a little bit of downforce and compliance in the third sector, leading to those extra warnings. So a little bit of an explanation there. Yeah, Mike Reel still fighting the pressure on Bendig. Bendig holding strong at the moment. I think he's dropped down the order to the little group where he's matched on pace at the moment. So this is a really fascinating battle developing here. Makela behind, I'm not sure if he had an incident early in the race, because he was starting in, what, P13?
P14, just behind Rashuti.
Sorry, yeah. And he didn't really make up much spots until just now. He's made up, obviously, the 3 from the drive-through, but he was sitting in P11.
He seems to be in about the right position. Don't think he's had any instances. Matthew Lamb again has a go at Kyrud, and these two are just going at it. It just seems to be the same result every time. Kyrud just putting that Mercedes in all of the right spots. Lamb not quite ready to have a real go up the inside of Scene.
Yeah, it's just, it must be so frustrating. Just, I think in terms of just outright pace, Matt Lamb is obviously the faster driver here today. But we still need to try and get ahead, and Karuden is doing an excellent job of defending super smartly, not moving late or doing anything untoward, just very good, clean, smart defense, and he's making Matt Lamb work very, very hard to get past him.
Ooh, 100%, just, yeah, pushing Lamb to the absolute limits.
But Matt Lamb is a fairly creative driver, so we'll see. There's still 10 minutes remaining, which is a long time. It counts for about 6 laps. So a lot can still happen. This track is a fairly easy track, but it also has a couple of corners, especially towards the end of Mistral, that could ruin your day. with a very, very small mistake. So, it's not over.
Yeah, and yeah, as they say, it's not over until the fat lady sings. I don't know if we have any fat lady to sing for us, but Charles Clark has got a drive-through as well, so plenty of drivers getting drive-throughs in this race.
I'm not fat, but I'm not lady, but I'm fat. So does that count? Can I sing or when it's over?
Well, we have the lady side on one half the commentary booth and the fat side on the other one, I guess. Then.
I mean, we can sing a duet when it's over. I guess that.
Yes. That would be wonderful. You know what else would be wonderful? Well, the battle that we have on screen right now. Kai Rudin and Lamb still going at it. Lamb not quite as close this time around, but I think Lamb's just waiting right until the end of this race. So he does not have to worry about a fight back from Kai Rudin on straights.
A pretty good point, actually. The other crazy thing for me is they are battling hammer and tongs, and they have pulled an 8-second gap on Villanueva in the last couple of laps. So even with all this battling that they're doing, they're still lapping at an incredible pace, which is pretty impressive to see.
I think they're just in their own world right now. Like when you get involved in these super close battles, anything else that's going on behind you becomes null and void. All your entire focus is just what's going on with the other driver around you. Like, I've been in battles like this before, and you just almost sent to a completely different dimension. It's crazy.
Mike Real has gotten past Benbeck there as well.
Yes, Mike Real has gotten past Bendig. So Real up into P6, Bendig down to 7th, but McKellar will be looking to get past Bendig now. As Villanueva has got a... But did Villanueva already have that 5 second?
No, that is recent. I'm wondering if there was maybe a small incident between
off-track overtake from Villanueva.
Okay, maybe he left the track because Becketts is very close to him, so I'm not sure if they maybe had a bit of a battle and Villanueva just went off track to get the position back. So that's a unique penalty. I haven't seen that come up before in chat. We see McKellar here, Ross driving past Bendick pretty much.
That was so close. I thought they were about to have a big moment on the straight, but what Villanueva's penalty does, well, the clause, if he gets past Vettiger, he's in for a shot at a podium here, which is just crazy race from McClaws. He's been so fast.
That would certainly be a very well-earned podium if he is fortunate enough to get there.
It would also be a very well-earned promotion to the pro class for Shane McClaws.
Yeah, I would say that's should in theory be a pretty foregone conclusion at this stage based on his performances so far.
Oh, that was close. I think it's a super close for Apreciado on the back of Bendig. But Vettiger has gotten past Villanueva.
That's going to get McLaws into that battle. He's going to start piling the pressure onto Villanueva and try and find a way through so he can stick with Vettiger.
Vettiger's
Bendig! Oh no!
Oh,
that was unfortunate. Nothing malicious there, just lost the car. Wilco
Oh, careful on the rejoin.
Safe enough. Not quite the Jesse McLean level rejoin there.
Not quite the Bender level rejoin either, but Matthew Lamb, this is the closest he has been. Is he just going to hold back? Wait, no, he's going to go around the outside. He's going to have a go for it. Can he get it done this time around? He's alongside for a lot longer now. They're directly side by side, but Kai Rudin holds on for now. Will this compromise the exit? No, it will not. So Kai Rudin still holding on for dear life out there, as Villanueva and McClaws are ahead of Vettiger.
Ah, okay. Should be an interesting... Oh, very spicy battle. Yeah, Vettiger is back ahead of McClaws again. So, yeah, yo-yo battling going on here. I'm not sure what exactly happened in the preceding corners there. But it seems fairly spicy between these three.
Yeah, look at McClaw's just taking a smart line to get the exit. He's going to have a go at the inside, the second last corner. On the inside of Vediga. Vediga holding that inside line for the hairpin at the last corner. Gets it, but will have a worse run out of the corner, you'd suspect, with McClaw's in the slipstream. And McClaw's is going to have a go for it around the outside of Vediga. All this is allowing his Villanueva to get away, but we only have 5 minutes left in this race, so it's not going to gain 5 seconds anytime soon unless these two have a monumental battle. But Vediga holds on.
Yeah, that was some good defense there by Vetiga. Again, putting the car where it needs to be to compromise McLaws's runs. But yeah, Villanueva is liking that. It's taking some pressure off him at least. Of course, he does have the penalty. So not necessarily actually fighting for these positions, but it's nice not to have a car directly on your rear bumper at all times. I'm sure Ali Rudin can.
Ooh, that was
attest to that.
quite wide.
Yeah, that was quite wide by Villanueva. Ruggrass, I think what you will find is that Matt Lamb is a freak, and he's just very, very, very good at driving. So
Not even human, I don't think.
No, pretty much.
Some extraterrestrial being is McClaw's. Side by side with Vediga again. And McClaw's, this time, well ahead of Vediga. You look further back, this is Apreciado and Van Fleet. I think Van Fleet's actually gotten past Apreciado. Here's Sneakers on Ferguson. Sneakers after his drive-through looking to gain some positions. Up the inside of Ferguson, side by side through Scene. And Sneakers is going to have the inside line here and gets it done.
Yeah, just to point out, McLaws is currently sitting in P3. Not necessarily on track, but with that penalty, he is on the podium. So Vetiga is very, very close to him, so it's not yet done and dusted. But yeah, excellent performance from McLaws so far.
Well, the gap at the line between Villanueva, McClaw's and Vetiga, 0.461 exactly between each car.
Huh. See that every day.
That's a nice statistical anomaly. Of course, JC likes to pick out those exact margins whenever he's in the comms booth, but here we go again. This is the penultimate lap. Will Lamb go for it this time, or will we wait one more lap and risk it? All for the biscuits.
Really, at some stage, he needs to try and poke a nose up the inside instead of going around the outside. There's enough of a width there. Oh no, Karun has closed the gap a little bit there, so it's not enough space to put it in there. Could always do a Danny Rick and just go off track, but that would be...
Oh, he's holding around the outside.
Will he be able to hold it all the way around? He's gonna be taking a longer line. Karun does have the inside. Both of them still door to door. Lamb will have the inside line into the next corner. Karun gives him the space. Lamb late on the brakes, hits the apex. Karun trying to get a little bit of a switchback, but Lamb gets the better run, and he is finally and officially in the lead. He will have to defend for one lap, and I'm sure Karun is going to throw everything and the kitchen sink at him to try and get that lead back.
That was a fantastic move from Matthew Lamb around the outside at Scene. How did he manage that?
Especially in a Porsche. I mean, that's just... Most people go through there in practice and they die. He goes around the outside of another driver and just manages to keep it on. But you have to give a lot of credit to Karun. That is what is referred to in the business as a two-man overtake. And Karun did all the right things there to avoid contact between the two of them and give enough space. So fantastic driving by both of them.
Meanwhile, further back, McClaw's is on the podium, on track. He and Vetiga are past Villanueva while we're watching that battle, but this is it. This is likely to be the final lap of this race. Lamb's got a good gap over Kyrun at the moment, but that poor straight line speed is not going to be pleasant. Can Kyrun gain at all down this straight?
I think he will gain, but he is a long way back. I'm not sure he's going to make up 6 tenths down this straight. So he'll be very close to him coming into scenes, but as we've seen, that Porsche is mighty strong through the final sector. I think Lamb may have done enough here, barring an incident.
What about this from Matthew Lamb? Winning the first race, winning possibly the reverse grid race. This is a masterclass of driving from Matthew Lamb in the Porsche to round out the season.
Yeah, I think Karuden, unless he has some form of a magical late braking desperation move, he has unfortunately lost this race to Matt Lamb. But he has put up an almighty fight to keep Lamb behind him. At the end of the day, Lamb just had the right tools in the bag to get the job done. Crosses the line to take the win. That is probably going to secure him P2 in Split Ascari. Karuden will secure the win. Jane McLaws crossing in P3. Outright podium on pace alone ahead of Joshua Vettiger Villanueva with a 5-second penalty. I think this is far enough behind. McKellar with a last lap, last corner overtake on Mike Reel. Piper looks interested, but not quite enough. They will cross the lines P6, 7, and 8. And we have Matt Nipperis crossing the line behind Bendik with Van Vliet and John Sonicus. Coming home in P12, he will be rather grumpy. So much potential that unfortunately got wasted. But yeah, Ben Ferguson there, your top AM. I think that will secure him the championship as well in the AM class. Newwood, P16, Tom Glover. And behind him is Joshua Green.
Some fantastic racing there from Ascari. And I mean, it was Matt Lamb's day, but commiserations to Ali Kairudin. He put up a fantastic fight, but no matter the result, Kairudin is your Split Ascari champion. That's very well done from the Mercedes driver as Charles Clark crosses the line backwards, sort of. And the last driver to cross the line will be Stockton.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, Karuden he'll be a little bit upset by losing the race on track, but I'm sure he'll be able to wipe the tears away with his championship trophy. So he won't mind too much losing out at the end there. He is very good at donuts, though. I've seen him do a couple of those, and he's very good.
No,
not when he gets balked, but he's certainly practiced them enough. So yeah, that would be the end of Split Ascari's season.
Yes, that is, and we will very shortly be moving over quickly into Split Becketts.
Yeah, of course, Split Becketts has provided some fantastic content this season, so I think we'll see a slightly reduced field today, but I'm sure the content will still be up there. So we just wait for this to take over. Marcus and Flip, I think, there, and doing some particularly good donuts there as we see the final results for race 2. Matthew Lamb in P1 after an epic battle with Ali Kairudin in P2. Shane McLaws in P3. Then, of course, McLaws takes the win in the Pro-Ams. Mitchell Van Dyke in P2. Wayne Darwin in P3. And Ben Ferguson, John Stockton, and Mr. Park in P3 in the AM class.
So that just about does it for Split Ascari this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of just the quality of racing that we've seen, I think this may have been the standout split. Some of the drivers are just on such a close level. Yeah, it's been pretty fun to watch.
Indeed, it has.
See a fairly diminished field here. I think it's only 22 or 23 cars, so not a particularly big field, but they are about to kick over to qualifying.
Indeed,
But
they are.
it does appear as though they've embraced the ugly livery a little bit more, just based on the cars that are on screen at the moment.
Their fastest time was a 54 flat from Samuel. Some decent times showing there from Becketts.
Oh, that's the end of qualifying, actually. Apologies. Sorry. Yeah, as we see, there it's raining.
Ooh, and only
But
just, and it's going to be
yeah,
drying out.
track is only green at the moment, so that should spice things up a fair amount.
Indeed, it will.
So yeah, to confirm the grid, we have Shady Samuel in P1, Luke Johnson in P2, George Fowler, the Pro-Am. He is in a battle with Pete Viney for the Pro-Am Championship. Pete Viney, his closest contender, is in P17 at the moment, so he'll be hoping for some kind of a miracle. Brad Cook in P4, David Bart at P5, Jacob Weatherburn in P6, Hasnam in P7, Benjamin Vintner in P8, Matthew Herod P9, Satrio Hermanto in P10 in the Porsche. So a couple of Pro-Ams up in the top 10. Neil Gorman, the Am, I think Nathan Gorman, apologies, in P11. And then Scotty Rockford sitting on provisional reverse grid pole, although that is most likely completely irrelevant, seeing as the race has not started yet.
So this weather is going to cause some chaos because it is greasy track, but it's gonna finish raining soon. So, well, it's gonna be dry tires, but tricky conditions for the start of this race.
Absolutely, and it's also the type of conditions where we saw last week George Fowler absolutely excelled. So you'll be looking to put some pressure on those top two to maybe get into the lead. I saw him in the enduro as well in the wets. He was so fast in these conditions. Should be interesting.
Indeed, it will.
And just while we wait for the timer to count down, a quick rundown of the standings. We have Luca Giacomin in P1. He is not racing today. We do have Shady Samuel in P2. I think the total points, he is maybe a little bit too far behind Luca to close the gap. But he will secure P2 as Benjamin Vintner is about 250 points behind him. And then in Pro-Ams, we have George Fowler on 412 points, Pete Viney on 371 points, with Rialto Ristofani on 323. And then in the AM class, we have Damiano Thurklini on 237 points, Hugo Chan on 160, and Nick Miller on 129. So Damiano looking pretty set to take the AM championship for the Becketts.
Seemingly so. We are just getting underway for this formation lap.
That is a pretty ugly livery there by Mr. Goman. I mean, he's gone to the John Soneker School of Livery Designs and taken some very good notes.
I wonder if that's also been designed by his kids.
I mean, it's... Yes, I wouldn't be surprised based on the quality of the livery. But yeah, I see Mr. Rockford there behind. He usually rocks a purple livery. He's gone for white, yellow, and pink. And apart from the green wheels, that is actually quite a nice livery. But we see the top three didn't really embrace the ugly livery ethos for this race.
Track condition is currently damp.
That will make it a challenge on the dry tires for the first couple of laps.
100%.
It'll be interesting to see who is on the wet tires. It looks like Goman is on the wet tires, Hermanto is on the dry tires. have a look at the leaders to see if anybody has taken the risk of going on the wets, because you will have to stop. I don't think they're going to last 20 minutes if the rain stops anytime soon. So it might be a bit of a gamble going on the wets for this race.
We'll just have to wait and see when this rain stops. I mean, it says it's meant to stop in 10 minutes, but it's raining pretty heavily at the moment.
Shady Samuel is on the dry, Johnson on the rise. Pretty much everybody is on the rise. I was really wrong about Mr. Gorman there. Mike Donaldi is on the wets, so he's gonna have a rough time if the rain stops.
The safety car on the wet tires.
I mean, that strat does work when you only have to do one lap potentially. So
one lap in split Becketts for the safety car.
Okay, yes. Sorry, my mistake. Yeah, as we see them come into the final section here, Shady Samuel on pole position, Luke Johnson in P2, George Fowler, Brad Cook, Bartlett, Weatherburn, Haslam, Vintner, Herod, and Hermanto is your top 10.
Does look like they're going to do a double file start, which surprises me in these conditions with so many drivers on dries.
It's called content.
I am waiting for the chaos and calamity at turn 1 with how wet it is. Like, look at the conditions. It's not quite Paul Ricard Enduro wet, but it is still quite precipitated. But we'll get underway. As you said, Samuel Johnson, Fowler, Cook, Bartlett, Weatherburn, Hasnam, Vintner, Herod, and Hermanto, the top 10. We're waiting for the green flag, and we get it. Samuel gets a decent start, but it's very tentative from everyone. We're going to have a bit of chaos further back. It's 3 wide, even 2 wide. It's going to be crazy. We'll see where everyone breaks for turn 1. Do we have any collisions? No, not at the moment. There's a little bit of argy-bargy, but they're getting through just fine. And there's cars around.
There we go. It's good to be a safety car, I would hazard a guess.
We will see where the safety car starts moving, but they're still racing by the looks of it. As the Audi around the outside of Donaldi on those wet tyres will be looking to gain some positions at the moment.
I don't know who that in the Audi is, but he is managing to brake incredibly late into all the corners, and they are slowing down there. Safety car. Oh, are they just driving slowly? Maybe it's just the weather. Guys at the front are still going for it. David Bartlett looking for a move on Jacob Weatherburn, or vice versa. But yeah, up the front everybody seems to be going well. Meanwhile, Mr. Gorman not going quite as well. Fowler seems to have lost out a little bit to Cook. He's dropped down 1 position. Samuel and Johnson continuing as they started 3 wide. Mr. Rockford on the inside. He's gonna get the double overtake done. Fantastic move in these conditions. Yeah, really nice livery, I think. Its task failed successfully. But yeah, a couple of guys in the back there going a little bit wide. Okay, I didn't say all of it is good, Paul. Yeah, so far, apart from the turn 1 Lebu, it's been... Whoa! Okay. That's certainly a line.
Indeed it is, but the rain has stopped. So it will start to dry as there's collision on the straight. Oh no. Oh no. Let's take a look at this. This is going to be sadness. Ferrari and Aston Martin, I'm assuming, just converge on each other. Oh no. Oh no. No, that's not good.
Yes, Tom, but straight lines are very difficult to figure out sometimes. Okay?
The blood split living up to its name.
they're much better in the corners. Well, I say much better. They're not actually. It's just split Beckett's swing really. George Fowler is ahead of Cook again, so he's closed that gap very quickly. He's right up near the top two at the moment. You see Matthew Hurd here in the AMG, right behind Ralahay. Ralahay started in last position, he's already up to P14, so a pretty effective start for him. We have Haslam trying to follow through, free wide, and Ralahay has absolutely binned it. That is what you call a puddle.
Just a little bit of a puddle.
Oof.
Just on the curve and got the...
just on that edge.
Oh, ouch.
Oh. I remember in the Enduro, if you went offline there, the puddles try to pull you off track. And I think that's pretty much what happened to Neri there. He just got pulled off and then went over that little bump, and it is good night, sweet prince. That is a lot of damage.
Indeed.
You see Hermanto getting a 10-second penalty. That would be for the little turn 1 a boop on the snoot.
The boop snoot.
Look at the gaps at the front there. 3 10s, half a 10. So close to the top 3 at the moment. Anyway, Luke Johnson is through, so even closer. And Fowler is looking to get past Shady Samuel here. Samuel struggling a little bit in these conditions, as I struggle to say struggle. But behind them, Brad Cook, Weatherburn, Bartlett, Vintner, Rockford, everybody within less than a second of each other. So very, very tight batting going up here in the top 10. Mike Donaldi also gets a penalty, 5-second penalty for a collision on lap 1. So a couple of penalties already rolling through, as is pretty standard for the Becketts.
Stewards already getting the beers out early. They're gonna need it.
To be honest, I think Split Becketts is the only split that the stewards are allowed to pre-drink just to warm up for it. As we see, Johnson moves over on the defensive line. Samuel on the outside, side by side. Trusteens is hard enough in the dry. In the wet, it's even trickier. Will they make it work? Johnson gets inside line, stays clear of Shady Samuel. Fantastic move by Samuel there. Great driving by both of them to stay clean. Fowler is just waiting for either of these two to foul up, and he can get through there.
Oh, here's a move.
Sends it up the inside. Great stuff. Forceful move, but no contact made between either of them. I'm not sure which one of the ugly Hondas is Weatherburn and which one is Cook, but I know that is a unfortunate BMW.
Let's watch this.
Ooh, Donaldi with a little bit of a send there. Is there rejoin? Yep, hold your brakes. Hold your brakes.
Hold brakes!
No. And then the reach. Oh, okay,
that is horrendous.
That is not Mike Donaldi's finest moment, I would say. I assume that 5-second penalty that he has next to his name is going to increase ever so slightly.
I reckon that's going to be a very, very hefty penalty.
Yeah, as Octane says, grab the spank pedal. I hope Mike Donaldi has a safe word, because he is in for a rather robust spanking after that.
Look at George Fowler though, Pro-Am driver, showing great pace at the moment in these drying conditions.
Weatherburn tried to move around the outside there of Johnson. Johnson just kept the nose in there, forcing Weatherburn wide. A little bit sneaky, but it seems to be effective, although Weatherburn gets a great run onto the Mistral. That doesn't seem like the correct line. Just a very slight boop.
Has to be careful not to get the big DQ for going backwards.
Side by side here for Rockford. You don't want to be out there in the Honda. Pete Viney says, thank you very much, I'll take that.
As we immediately get a burst of sunshine out of the clouds.
Yep, track is still damp though, so Don't let it fool you and lull you into a false sense of security.
George Fowler is still flying out there.
Yeah, he's very fast in all conditions, but he's so strong in these.
Here's
changeable
Hermanto,
conditions.
just loses it on turn-in. On the curb, I reckon.
That's a very weird one. Tom
I
Maloney is saying that Jesse's been dethroned in terms of rejoins. I don't think so, mate. If for those who haven't seen it, it's pretty freaking awful.
I don't think anything's ever going to top Bender's rejoin.
I'd put money on Jesse's being worse than Bender, to be honest.
Oh, car 61. Stop, go 30 for unsafe rejoin and failing to hold brakes. That is massive penalty. Oh, that is huge.
I think that's about half a step clear of just being DQ'd from the race, pretty much, based on that penalty. Which I suspect is fair enough based on what we saw on camera. So that is effectively his race over.
I do like the team name of Ben Vintner, just coloured wheels.
Yeah. I think is he trying to trigger Mull into like adding ballast to his car or something? I don't know. But it's not too bad actually.
The colour of it is just...
Yeah, but it kind of works with the sort of dull colours of the actual paint job.
Out front, Fowler and Samuel side by side into Scene corner, and now we're going to have Wellerburn and Vintner doing the same thing. Wellerburn holds the inside. Wellerburn keeps P3 for now in the Honda, but here comes Johnson.
Fantastic opportunism there by Luke to see the opportunity and sneak one up inside of Vintner there. Yeah, go ahead.
Track condition is now greasy as Wellerburn ran a bit wide there. So anyone who is still on the wet tyres, which I believe was just Denoldi, will have a few issues. But Denoldi, of course, stop go 30 in the pits.
Yeah, I think he has some more important issues to focus on at the moment, so won't be too concerned with that.
No.
Quite a tight little battle here at the back. Scotty Rockford running very strongly. He has honestly improved so much in recent seasons. It's so good to see him competing so high up the grid. And he is having a fun little battle here with Mr. Cook and Irfan. Currently we have Damiano Thurcolini in provisional pole position for the second race, although there is a penalty for Malik ahead of him. So Carmen potentially sitting in P1 for the second race. Be careful to get 2 warnings there. That is most likely 2 warnings, as Alexis and us, our team, can attest after the Enduro.
Yeah, it's very, very easy to get warnings there. It's not fun. As we take a look at Vintner on Johnson. Of course, Johnson making a very nice move last lap. Can Vintner have a go into Scene? Getting the slipstream, but holding back slightly, I reckon. Just maybe waiting or possibly running a bit higher rear wing on that BMW.
It appears as though he's fairly draggy down the straight. Just behind them, you have Pete Viney, who started in P17 up to P6 already in this race.
Oh, Vintner up the inside here. Wow. Really going for it.
Johnson still has the inside for the next corner. Ooh, Vintner fairly wide there. That might give Viney the chance up the inside. He is through, but they are still side by side. Not an easy corner to go side by side, especially in these conditions. But it will allow Viney the inside into the left-hander, second last corner. Go side by side. Viney dives there a little bit. Will Vintner try to send up the inside? He does not. Viney moves up into P5. Fantastic driving by all 3 there.
Yeah, great driving between those few drivers of Johnson, Viney and Vintner. And that is the order that they run in on track. So it's currently Samuel from Fowler who's putting pressure on Samuel. Weatherburn in a bit of his own gap at the moment. Then Johnson, Viney, and Vincent all in a battle. Rockford, Irfan, Cook, and Hasnam, the top 10. So we've had a bit of action this race, and well, a bit of chaos as well. And then again, you are watching Split Becketts.
Yeah, I mean, action is their middle name. Well, it's one of their middle names, along with chaos, bloodshed, tears, but it's in there.
Tears is my favourite. Always love a few tears.
There's plenty of them to be had here. As we can see, Samuel, with the conditions changing a little bit, I think it'll slowly but surely favor him in the drier conditions. Fowler is just an absolute god in the rain, although I say that the timer updates and they're pretty much even. As we see Vintner try for a move on the outside of Viney. He loves a move around the outside of teams here. Will he be able to keep it within track limits? He does. Viney keeps the position up the inside. Good defensive driving there. Yeah, so Viney, I mean, he's trying to catch Fowler. Unfortunately for him, Fowler is running in P2 at the moment, and he has a fast lap, so that is good points haul for George. 30-point gap between the two of them coming into this race, so Viney needs a miracle if he's gonna get that Pro-Am title.
Yeah, there's a fair drive to go. So Weatherburn currently with the fastest lap. The fastest lap will start to get set by a few different drivers now as the conditions continue to improve.
As you say that, Hasnam takes the fastest lap at the moment. But, yep, I think we'll get a few unique names getting that purple lap. Fowler is all over the back of Shady Samuel. Looking, oh, this is very close here. This might be potential run down the straight. This is going to be a little battle of who has more wings. Ooh, that's wide for Fowler.
It's also a battle of who can run the least wide.
Yeah, it helps when you make the corner in terms of taking part in the battle. Ooh, speaking of close battles, Vintner right up the caboose of Pete Viney there.
Of course, don't make contact on the straight. We've already had one happen on the straight. We're not going to have it again. Yeah, Vincent doesn't have a lot of straight line speed, does he? But he still gets up the inside of Viney and gets the move done, so yeah, there's not a lot of straight line speed coming out of BMW, but in the slipstream, still effective enough to get the move done.
Yeah, from what I've seen on the Honda, they have to run, as we see Gorman here trying to make his way back up the field. The Honda needs to run a little bit of a, sort of, I would say, sail or dining room table on the back to make it safe to seam corner. They do struggle a little bit when they don't have the straight line speed, but it does have very good acceleration, so it sort of balances out a little bit. But yeah, as we saw there, Vintner had enough speed to get through, but Viney is ahead of him again on the timing table, so nope, Vintner is ahead again. Timing table is having an aneurysm.
Aneurysm's also my favorite.
He is an aneurysm. You're a very complex character, Alexis.
Well, that complex is my middle name.
Fair enough.
Well, it's not, but
I mean, we don't have to be factually correct here, Tom.
Being factually correct, what is this? Not Sky Sports?
I mean, they're always factually correct. It's just that their facts are completely wrong.
Yes. Or you could say the same about how I've been going about myself tonight. Factually correct, just wrong facts as we continue on. Where
you've been correct, don't worry. As we see up the front, Samuel has pulled a 1 second gap to Fowler now. It's a little bit of breathing room. Only 2 minutes remaining. They are coming into the final sector, so I suspect we will have only one more lap after this. Goman with a run on Percolini here. This is potentially for a reverse grid pole as he pokes it up the inside. Percolini leaves just about a car's width, allows Goman the inside line, and they will go not side by side. He's through already. That looked like a bit of a send by Percolini. Nope, Goman is still clear. That will move him into reverse grid pole as things stand at the moment, with Malik serving a 10-second penalty. Scotty Rockford here, very close to Viney. He's staying with Viney and Vintner, although Vintner has opened a tiny bit of a gap to Viney behind him.
Otterburn's catching quite nicely on this last few laps, but we are actually in the last lap now. And Samuel's got 1.1 seconds over Fowler.
Yeah, so I think things are slowly but surely settling down up at the front. As you said, Weatherburn setting fast this lap and starting to close down. He's unfortunately going to run out of time, as we are currently on the final lap already. But these two teammates will be looking not to murder each other and potentially have a nice clean little drag race down the straight here. Can't be battling each other too much, as we do have Irfan and Cook not far behind them, so still a lot of potential risk here in terms of losing out in terms of positions. The gap to Weatherburn has extended a little bit again. Look at the straight line speed that Rockford has down the straight. He's not closing quite enough, but he's still going to have a little look up the inside.
That's going to be close.
Oh, leaves the nose in there, forces Viney to go a little bit wider. Viney tries to squeeze him onto the curb. That curb is quite bouncy in the braking zone. Everybody stays clean. Irfan just behind them, looking at some kind of a potential move if things go wrong up front. But so far, everybody is staying nice and clean. Cook in the background as well, looking up the inside of Irfan, getting a good view of the beaver nose of the M4 here. I think Viney has done enough so far to stay clear. As we see, Jay Samuel crosses the line. George Fowler in P2, Jacob Wedderburn P3, Luke Johnson P4, Vintner in P5. Rockford tries a little switch back there, doesn't quite put it off. Pete Viney will hold on to P6 with Rockford right on his tail, Irfan not too far behind, and Brad Cook in P9.
You've got Hasnam. Malik will cross the line in P11, but will drop down with the 10-second penalty. Harold P12, but it'll be Goman, the reverse grid pole sitter, as Brad Grant seems to have run out of fuel. Yeah, the engine's off. He's run out of fuel and is coasting to the line. Is he going to get? I don't think he's going to get there. Is he? Oh no, he's still going.
Come on. Get out and push.
He's not going to get there.
No, he's down to 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 2 kilometers, 1. He has not made it.
What a shame.
How do you run out of fuel on a 20-minute race? it's like 30
well, I mean, he's
meters.
lined up nicely in his grid box.
Yeah. He will not be happy about that. As we see Nathan in chat, I'm assuming that is Nathan Goman. Good race there, mate. Unfortunate with the incidents, but good racing overall. As we see the daytime fireworks, definitely not a waste of money.
Fireworks. Definitely not a waste of money at any point of the time. Of course, in Australia, there's only a few times that you'll see fireworks.
Yeah, in Thailand it's also pretty much illegal unless you have a license for it. So, which is good, because a couple of years ago you just heard fireworks every single night, and the dogs absolutely hated it. So,
yep.
Yeah.
I think in Australia there is a 5-hour window where fireworks are allowed, and it's in Darwin.
Okay, that's probably about 4 hours too long, but you know, fair enough.
Well, it's an entire firework festival that they have up there.
Okay. I mean, I do enjoy a good firework display, but it's, yeah, there's not a lot of point to it, is it? Just man's hubris showing we can make things go boom, pretty much, and then we make it sparkly.
I mean, if we wanted to prove to rest of humanity that we can make things go boom, just have a war.
I mean, we're pretty much constantly doing that somewhere in the world, so
Yeah,
it's fine.
but we are now going into super qualifying, an 8-minute session.
So yeah, if there's anybody who randomly perhaps maybe joined at the last minute, it is a super sprint race. So we do have two races. One is 20 minutes, one is 40 minutes. And second race will have a top 12 reverse grid, and P13 and down will have a super quali attempt to set the grid from 13th down. As you see, we have only 21 cars in today, so it will only be about 8-9 cars qualifying.
Yeah,
see OOR announced in chat that the Pro Series announcement will happen tomorrow.
Yes, definitely something to keep an eye on. It is looking very, very exciting, of course. We will spare the details for tomorrow, but it is going to be massive.
Needless to say, it's people make cars go brrr even faster. So it should be some fantastic racing all around, and we all look forward to getting to witness that, I guess.
Indeed, we will. But for now, still full focus on Paul Ricard for this final round here, Split Becketts, and the super qualifying for the final race of the season for Asia Pacific this season. Of course, we still have Europe and Americas to go tomorrow, but for now, this will be it for Asia Pacific, but still one more 40-minute race to go.
Yeah, still lots of time for some action and some content to happen. And as you mentioned, of course, still EU and North America to go. George Fowler in chat saying close race. Yep, that's one way to put it, mate. It certainly was a very close race. Great pace all around there by the top four. Nathan, is this your first sprint race? And you're starting on pole in the reverse grid, so hopefully you are aware of the starting procedures, because it is going to be fun.
Yes, gonna have a lot of fun starting out the front, especially with some very quick drivers behind.
Most important thing to remember is fun, but also 80 kilometers per hour. But then after that, have a lot of fun.
Yep, first you gotta make sure 80 kilometers an hour, don't exceed that, and from there, run. Just run as far as you can.
Mr. Hermanto here come around Scene's corner. He will be looking to have a better second race after a rather unfortunate start and then a very random death at the end of Mistral in the first race. So he'll be looking to make up some spots and avoid the incidents in the second race.
So we wanna make sure keeps it clean.
I'm sure George Fowler is doing all kinds of rain dances and praying to all the rain gods that there is more rain in this second race. Doesn't appear to be the case based on the day, the time of day and the weather at the moment, but you never know. Got the line in a 55.8. I'm sure he will be looking to improve. He's a very fast driver, but that will not satisfy his need for speed.
I reckon someone who needs the speed to satisfy his need is our reverse grip pulse to Nathan Gorman. Legs are shaking apparently, so just a bit of a tip now. Take some deep breaths, I'm sure you'll do great. You just deep breaths now and give it your all. That's all you can really ask for.
Yep, pretty much. Line up nicely, wait for the green lights, and then just shout your surname a bunch of times and drive really quickly.
Yep, gotta make sure you have your war cry ready.
Oh, the fact that his surname is Go Man certainly helps as well as a form of encouragement. See David Bartlett pops it into P1 with a 155.1. Hermanto will be looking to improve. He is improving slightly, but not by enough to dethrone Bartlett at the moment.
Yes, we are hoping possibly to see a 54. Of course, pole position in main qualifying was a 54 flat. Hermanto not doing enough to improve on position, but will improve on time. So we take a look at further back is Grant.
Hopefully Grant has enough fuel to finish that lap. So
Here's the driver that should be very, very fast. Relahi. Relahi is one of the fastest drivers you will see out there. Just needs to get a lap together as Relahi in the Porsche.
yeah, I think he's going to be suffering some flashbacks every time he turns onto the Mistral straight after his rather fantastic, fantabulous, immense accident that he had in race 1, which is one of the harder impacts I've seen in a while.
Yeah, that was one of the biggest crashes I've seen, especially on a straight. I mean, at least it wasn't 12 fucking meters.
That's true.
Seems no matter where you go, F1, ACC, iRacing, Automobilista, you always have a 12 fucking meters moment somewhere. And it always seems to be Imola. Or just in Italy. Because I believe...
I mean, if it happens at Monza, that's kind of pretty standard, I reckon.
Yes, and I believe in Tier 3 it actually did happen at Monza. In the F1 series.
Yeah, I joined about 20 minutes into that race, and they were on their 5th or 6th safety car. So yeah, I think a little bit more than just 12 minutes happened.
There goes Relahi's lap.
He's not going to have enough time to get another lap in.
That's very unfortunate for Relahi. Just pushing a little too hard. Didn't set a time in qualifying before either, so just not able to get a consistent line. Well, he may be getting a consistent line, but it's consistently off track, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's weird because he's fast enough to get a good lap in without having to push that hard. So he's just compromising his own races by just going over the limits ever so slightly.
Yeah.
But, yep, hopefully he can have a better race this time around. You see Berglini here, currently in P3, is improving, coming into the final sector. He is up 2/10, loses a little bit there on the exit. 2/10 will not be enough. 10 will certainly not be enough to move him up into P2. Still has 2 corners remaining. If he can absolutely nail this final corner, he may gain enough. He does not. So he will remain in P3 for the Super Quali. David Bartlett and Satrio Hermanto, Freddy Malik in P4, Mike Donaldi in P5 after a rather shocking race 1. Grant had enough fuel to finish a lap, and Gary Lau, Beyond Carmon, is still on a lap. Not sure whether he is improving at the moment, but he comes into the final corner. We'll see as he crosses the line in what can only be described as an ice lolly livery. And he does improve, but not by enough to gain any positions.
That is your super qualifying for Split Beckett. It is Bartlett from Hermanto, Thurcolini, Malik, Denoldi, Grant, Lau, and Scarman. And then you have Ralahi, who did not set a time. Okay, I will be back in about a few minutes.
Okay. Yeah, as we get ready for the final race of the Asia Pacific Split Becketts and the overall season, we do have some rain coming in about 30 minutes or within the next 30 minutes. This race, of course, does not have a mandatory pit stop, so that would certainly spice up the end of this race. I'm sure George Fowler is jumping up and down, rejoicing. He's just done 4 backflips in celebration that there will be some rain. But him and Shady Samuel will have to make their way through the field first. So we are in for a rather interesting conclusion to this season. Yeah, we will get an idea of the final grid as soon as the timer comes down and they start lining up behind the safety car. So I guess while we're waiting, let's ask chat, what has been your favorite race of the season? And in your own words, explain why. Or just name a track that was your favorite race of the season. From a personal perspective, I would have to say actually Kota. It was the first time that we raced there. I think it made for some pretty good racing, as frustrating as the track limits are while hot lapping and qualifying. But overall, it was certainly a fun track to race at. Made for some good racing to watch, and I quite enjoyed the race there. But yeah, I'm assuming not a lot of people are going to agree with that, based on the comments that we saw in chat and in the Discord before and after the race. We get to 30 seconds, you can see the cars starting to drop off of their jacks. Everybody is finalizing their setup. Hopefully, Mr. Grant has made sure that he has a couple of laps of extra fuel. Pretty simple mistake that some drivers towards the back of the field sometimes make is adding fuel based on their own lap times and not on the leader's lap times, and you sometimes have an extra lap that you are not planning for. So a little pro tip there is to calculate your fuel usage and needs based on the leader's lap times, not your own, if you are not the leader. As we see the safety car pull to turn 1, and the race director will start calling out the numbers of the qualifying grid. As we see a very nervous Nathan Gorman pull up into P1. In his first race in the Sprint Series, Janetta has its wipers on for some reason. I think it's preempting the rain a little bit. And Split Becketts definitely not getting any stubby holders based on the line. I say line, not 100% really a line. It's more a gaggle of cars.
That is a horrendous line. I am sorry, Becketts. That is disgusting. And you know what's not disgusting? Rain in 30 minutes.
Yep, it's definitely going to add some spice to the end of this race.
Ho 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 ho. Finishing out the season for Asia Pacific with a bit of moisture, a bit of precipitation.
If we ever
I'll
want
find
to
out
go
the
on
French
back.
word for rain. 1 second.
Le rain? Is that not it?
It is pluie.
That sounds much worse than le rain. Yep, Eric Austin, how to have a mandatory pit stop in a non-mandatory race. Add some rain about halfway through it. It'll be very, very interesting to see when that updates, if it's going to be heavy rain. Based on the current prediction, it's only light rain, so the track should potentially just go to about greasy, maybe damp. So it's probably if I had to guess right now, based on the prediction, I would say it's not worth the pit stop. But if that updates to heavy rain, that's really, really going to throw a spanner in the works here towards the end of this race.
Indeed it will, and boy oh boy am I looking forward to this one.
And Firelord Racing pointing out that Mr. Irfan in the 404 car has forgotten potentially to press drive, and he is currently in the pit lane.
Error 404, yeah, drive button not found, Firelord saying. It's a nice way of putting it.
A jokey way of saying you done messed up, boy. So we can see the grid here as they come into the final sector. The Janetta Wiper is still going full blast for some obscure reason. Nathan Goman in P1 in his first round of sprint racing. Matthew Herrod behind him. Hasnam, Brad Cook, Scotty Rockford, Pete Viney, Benjamin Vintner, Luke Johnson, Weatherburn, and then of course your top two from race 1, George Fowler and Shady Samuel. David Bartlett, the pole qualifier in Super Quali, will start from P13, followed by Hermanto Berklini, Paddy Malik, Mike Donaldi, Gary Lau, Brad Grant, and Scarman Raleigh rounds out the top 21, with Irfan starting from the pit lane, just for that added bit of challenge.
Last to first challenge, why not? Irfan definitely has the pace, but just whether he can utilize it. There's a bit of a gap between Goman and Herod at the moment.
We have 2 corners to go, so hopefully they start closing up the gap, as they should be holding 80 kilometers an hour from now. Safety car has rolled away already. Herod on the inside, so he should be faster through the final corner, closing up that gap a little bit, balancing the field out. You see the air pulls up nicely alongside Goman. Goman should be holding nicely at 80 kilometers an hour. A little bit of a mess up there at the back by, I think that was Raleigh and Scarman, but we are about to go green for the final race of OOR sprint season. Green lights are on. A couple of good starts towards the back there. Goman absolutely nailed the start at the front there, coming into turn 1. Takes a nice defensive line, breaks nice and early. Herod tries around the outside. He will make that move stick. Goman gets an excellent exit and proves me wrong and stays in P1. Haslam looking very interested behind Herod. Tries around the outside. Herod takes defensive line into turn 3. Late on the brakes, very tight there, very close to a warning. We have Brad Cook very close to Haslam as we approach the Mistral Straight for the first time. This is where the pressure will truly be piled onto Goman towards the back of the pack. Seems fairly clean, no contact as of yet. Shady Samuel with an absolute barnstorm over start. He is up a few positions already. And we see here Matthew Herod right on the tail of Goman, coming down the Mistral. Goman taking a defensive line nice and early, forcing Herod to potentially try and go around the outside. He moves out of the slipstream nice and early down the straight. There might be enough time to pull ahead. They are side by side coming in to Scene's corner. Goman has done enough to stay alongside, nails his apex, and Herod has compromised his line and will be overtaken by Hasnam.
But Hasnam's gone wide, and now Herod's going to have another look, but backs out of it. So Hasnam up into P2 with Goman, the AM class driver, first race, or first sprint race, leading away.
Yeah, fantastic start by him. He absolutely nailed the green lights. Got a braked a little bit early, nice and safely into turn 1, but defended excellently on the exit of turn 2, and some very good defensive placement of the car down the Mistral, making Herod really work for it, and compromising Herod enough for Herod to lose a position. We see Shady Samuel is up to P8 already from P12, so to make that P7.
I think that was an issue further back, as Malik has dropped down to P20 and is now a long way back. I reckon there was a little bit of an incident on that first lap, but no safety car and we're still going.
Ooh, Bartlett around the outside of 2 cars there after a fantastic exit at turn 2. Fowler and Johnson got caught napping, and Bartlett with a brilliant move to move up 2 positions into P10.
Yeah, very nice there from Bartlett. Just
Oh, contact.
here's the chaos.
Samuel on Vintner. I think Samuel might get a little slap on the wrist there.
Firelord, I think you can now tell that this is indeed Becketts. As yeah, just on the curb.
Yeah. Oh, and Rockford a little bit into Weatherbend there as well. It will be a tiny amount of damage, shouldn't be too bad, but Goman up the front is looking very, very comfortable. 2 seconds clear already. Whoa, that's not where you want to park, mate.
Can't park there.
Oh, that is why the gap is so big. That is Cook and Haslam. So that is why Goman is so far ahead all of a sudden. That is would be interesting to see what has happened there, but regardless, Goman will be more than happy to see that happen behind him.
We will take a look on the replay system.
See them side by side here onto.
Oh no! Oh, just lost it. That was strange.
That's a very weird place for such a snap to happen.
Wow.
But regardless, that is very good news for Pete Viney, who's into P2, while Fowler is still in P9. So there's a lot of development still to happen here. Shady Samuel up to P4 already. Jacob Weatherburn right on his tail. They'll be looking to chase down the leaders and potentially start closing that 4-second gap that Goman has on Viney already.
Hold on. Irfan already has a drive-through penalty.
Okay. Did he speed run his wonders or?
I don't know. That is insanely quick.
Lord, with the continuation of the earlier joke, yeah, Rockford here under a lot of pressure from Luke Johnson. I don't think he'll be able to defend on this lap. Leaves a little bit of space. Will Fowler find a way through here? Not enough space there for free cars, is there? There is.
He's gonna try it. And he's got the run, you know. Fowler might do this. Got the inside line.
Makes it stick. Moves in ahead of Johnson. Great driving by Fowler there to make up 2 spots in the straight. As we see up ahead, Weatherburn and Samuel battling each other. Samuel gets a 10-second penalty. That would be for the little hit on Vintner 2 laps ago. And yeah, Johnson and Rockford definitely lost out there. Hermanto moves up into P10. Quite a lot of shuffling here in the mid-pack at the moment.
But out front, Goman's having a great race. Like, doing a fantastic job. First time he's been thrown into this situation, and he's taking it on with open arms. Like, he is gaining. Like he's breaking away from Pete Viney. He's in with a great chance here.
Absolutely. After the incident on the previous lap, when Viney moved into P2, he's already opened another second on Pete Viney, who is no slouch. So, a fantastic performance so far by Goman. I suspect the big question here is, will Samuel be able to firstly clear the cars ahead, catch up to Goman and build a 10-second gap? That is a lot to ask of him. I would be incredibly impressed if he's able to do that, but it's a long time before we can see that happen. More importantly, we see the rain has updated, so it's going to be medium rain, but it's only going to be a short little downpour.
It's still going to cause a bit of chaos because it goes from medium rain into light rain into dry conditions again.
Yep. So that's going to definitely spice things up, and it's also about 25 minutes into the race, you know, just when the tires are starting to wear a little bit, as we see up ahead there. That is Mike Donaldi with the overtake on Brad Grant. Lau runs a little bit wide. He gets overtaken by Ralahay, who's making his way from the back of the field. He is now up into P14.
The question is, can Ralahi find the track limits, or will his fate go the same way as Irfan?
one any basically confirming there it's going to be about 4 minutes of total rain. So
Wonderful.
2 laps of chaos.
2 laps of panic.
Viney crosses the line behind Goman. The gap has grown by an additional 0.3 seconds. Samuel has cleared Weatherburn. Samuel will be looking to get a move done on Viney and start closing in on that gap. Goman looking ultra comfortable up the front.
Well, it was like he was built for the front, was German. Was German.
Yeah, I'm not sure if his legs have stopped taking yet, but he seems super comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, he's just hitting his lines. He's not really panicking, just going about his race nicely. And look at the gap that he's extending out.
Another 3 or 4 tenths just in the first sector alone there.
And Jacob's got a nice run here on Samuel.
Samuel has a nice load of slipstream as well from Viney, so I suspect we might see another 3 wide here. Viney is fairly far ahead. Coming down.
And look at the clouds approach. It has gotten dark very, very quickly.
Good stuff there by Viney. He got a very good exit onto the mistral. There he was slightly compromised, and Pete survives for another lap. But all this is doing is allowing Goman to build a bigger and bigger gap at the moment.
This is going to end out a similar situation to the Kyrud and Lamb battle of Ascari, I reckon, between Viney and Samuel.
Yeah, having to make a miracle happen to get through. Viney is a very astute defender. He's certainly not going to make it easy.
Yes, and the straight line speed of that Honda will be giving the upper hand to Viney compared to Samuel, although Samuel's got a little bit of a run here going into turn 1. Will we have a look, or will Viney defend the inside? Viney is defending, so Samuel has to go to the outside. Goman will be rubbing his hands together right now. He is just stretching his leaders. Yeah, it's starting to get real dark now, isn't it? The rain is on the way, and Weatherburn is having a look at Samuel, but not going to get a move done into turn 3. But look at how tight this battle is in the mid-pack.
All of this battling is just allowing all these other cars that were a couple of tenths off to close right. Oh, as we see Bartlett go around at the back. Not sure if that was an assisted.
Samuel was up the inside of Viney, but can't get it done.
That's Fowler as well. We get a replay here of. Oh, so that was Johnson onto the back of Fowler and Bartlett. That might be a really big impact on the overall championship for the Pro-Ams. I don't know if anybody in chat could potentially do some math for us. As we see, Samuel is already clear. Weatherburn looking up the inside as well. Herod looking interested. Viney might lose out on 3 positions here if he's not careful. He defends very well against Herod. Takes the inside line. Herod looking around the outside. That is not a move that is particularly easy to make. Johnson looking even wider, though I suspect he might get a little bit of a slap on the wrist based on the incident we just saw. But Viney losing out 2 positions there, and now JD Samuel has been freed up. He is 6 seconds behind Goman. Will he be able to close that gap? As we see Brad Grant here.
This is going to be some more contact, I reckon. Here at this. Oh no, it just loses it. Loses the rear end on the curb almost. Interesting incident.
Fortunate.
But that gap between Goman and Samuel is going to start closing in rapidly.
And the rain has started.
The rain has begun. But Samuel does have that 10-second penalty, so we will see what happens with all this. But oh, that rain is coming down quickly.
Big send by Herod there, manages to keep it clean, but these guys are very close, coming into a tight corner that is very easy to misjudge. Everybody keeps it clean. This corner here will be the first one to become exceptionally tricky, turning onto the mistral.
track condition is worsening. We are down to fast conditions.
Greasy
already. Oh my god.
But we'll stay greasy for a couple of laps until that rain gets a bit heavier. Then we might go to damp, which will potentially spice things up a fair amount.
Well, even then, this rain is already pretty heavy. Car 19 gets a 10-second penalty for a collision. But yeah, we're probably going to have about a bit over 10 minutes of rain because there is rain in that 10-minute window.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating. This will also be a nice little challenge for German. You know, it's first race in the sprint and he has to deal with being out front and now rain. So a little bit of added pressure, but...
Is that rain increasing in 10 minutes?
Ooh, okay, so that's updated. That's new.
Ooh, we're going to have some interesting conditions out here.
Yeah, again, I don't know if anybody is in a voice chat with Nathan, but just tell him to keep pushing, stay out.
259 gets 10 seconds for spitting in the pits. That is Grant. But Samuel is closing quickly on Goman. Goman's just got to hold on for dear life out there.
Right by Viney manages to put it back in, but he is compromised. Coming
Oh!
out Herod gets the move done. Johnson had nowhere to go there. Will Herod keep it up the inside there? No, he breaks nice and early. Viney takes his normal line. No, he doesn't take his normal line. He misses the corner completely. But he does stay ahead. Herod pops it up the inside of the hairpin. And Viney might lose an additional spot here to Hermanto. As they go side by side, a little bit of contact there.
Oh, this is tight between Johnson and Viney. Johnson has to run very wide. You're going to need to be very careful.
Oh,
track conditions are damp. The track conditions are damp. Ho ho ho. Strategies are going to be crazy with rain increasing in 10 minutes.
This is, well, honestly, I'm so happy it's not me doing it because I wouldn't really know what to do in terms of strategy here. As we see Bartlett here on the back of Ralahay, side by side through scenes, a little bit of contact before they get to the braking zone. Bartlett with a switch back, he's on the inside, Ralahay cuts across his nose, a little bit risky but clean, and keeps the position for now. Bartlett is still all over the rear end of him. That gap between Samuel and Goman seems to have stabilized a little bit as Bartlett does a Grant and just spins off on his own.
Oh, this is going to be chaotic now. Get ready. We are about to have bloodshed.
Who will blink and pit? Will somebody be brave enough to do that? That is the question. I don't think it's
Samuel's lost time. Goman has some pace in these conditions. And look, heaps of drivers filing into the pits.
Yep, that is. Who's that? Gary Lau is. Oh, there's a bunch of cars. Rockford is in. A couple of McLarens there.
I reckon there's a few of them that have been told wet tyres are now optimum, but the rain is no longer increasing as it is wet track conditions. Oh.
Oh, okay. You'll be faster on the wets now. But for how long is the question?
And you've got to change the tyres because it is now decreasing in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so you're going to have a wet track for maybe, let's say, 7 minutes or 8 minutes. And then you're going to have a drying track. Whoa, as we see Weatherburn into the wall. That's going to be a fair chunk of damage.
This is the risk you take in these conditions, though. This is the exact risk you take.
The gap between Goman and Samuel is back up to 6 seconds. Goman is absolutely acing these conditions at the moment. Manto moves out of the slipstream, side by side with Herod as they come to the end of Mistral. That's a very slow driving BMW. Will they make this work? Manto manages to slow it down. They are very gingerly going through there. Don't take too much off the curb. And a fantastic move by Hermanto there. Nice clean driving by both there. But Hermanto goes a little bit wide That is going to allow Herod a little look up the inside as they go side by side. Herod hits the curb, no contact, fortunately, and Hermanto gets the move done.
That was close, but clean racing between those two. Oh, it is getting exciting here in Split Becketts.
That's the type of racing that's nerve-wracking in the dry, and in this type of conditions, it's just... Ooh, as we see Hermanto loses it. Speaking of conditions, Herod gets back through.
So the question is, what do you do with strategy? As Samuel is right up close, Goman's made a mistake.
Yep, Goman has made a massive mistake somewhere.
Oh, he's had a big...
He has had a proper spin, okay.
He's managed to hold on. He's still in the lead, but that's not going to do his confidence any good.
I would not be surprised if that was due to that puddle that forms on the second last corner there.
Yeah.
For which I still have nightmares every now and then after the 8 hours here.
Look, Goman is still holding on strong. But Samuel gonna have a go around the outside. Gotta be brave around there. Taking it very gingerly. Goman loose and Samuel gets through.
Now, Goman still has the race lead technically at the moment, although he can't see anything. But will Samuel be able to open that gap is the question. Will either of them take the chance to pit? I don't think they will. They're surviving currently.
It's too late to try and pit now.
Yeah.
Lau is around. Just gonna lose it on traction.
Oh,
yep.
Okay. Yep, so he gained a bunch of free positions with people pitting ahead of him, but unfortunately they will lose him a bit of time. The thing is, you lose, what, a minute and 10 with a pit?
Yeah, but look at how much they're catching.
Yeah, but look how far behind they are, and they're potentially going to have to stop again.
We'll see how this strategy plays out. It's all up in the air, but the rain is going to come to an end very, very soon. It just depends on how quickly it starts drying out. Because that's very, very wet.
You can see there's not a lot of wind, so the cloud cover shouldn't clear up all that fast. Rinaldi and Vintner both pitted for wet tires, so they are, I think, your top wet runners at the moment. Oh, Rinaldi all over the back of Vintner.
I believe Viney is on wets.
Oh, did he pit as well? Okay, so I didn't see that.
Yep.
And he's on the wets as well. Irfan is just making his way through the field from the pit lane. Yeah, these wet runners will still have maybe 3 or 4 laps of an outright advantage, at which time things will start to slow down a little bit.
Oh, look at how wet that is. That is very, very wet. It's went from a very dry track to a very, very wet one quite quickly. But, oh, Denaldi up the inside of Vintner.
That's not a particularly nice move, but he does put it up on track. So the position will stick. And now Vintner has a severe lack of visibility.
Yep, get those windscreen wipers absolutely churning.
He's
look
also...
at what.
Ooh, their front wide.
They're all struggling a little bit now. But Goman's taking the lead again. Samuel's made a massive mistake. Look, Samuel is super wide. I reckon he's had a spin.
That's a fairly large mistake there.
Oh. Spin into turn 1, and I reckon he's made another error later on the lap. Just run wide, I'm guessing. Yeah, run way too wide. And look, Hermanto is through on Samuel.
So Hermanto, or Samuel must have made a very big boo-boo into turn 1 then to lose that much time. See, there's about 4 seconds
Oh,
behind
but
the leaders. Weatherburn
Jacob
for the
Weberman
lead.
on Goman.
Weatherburn is a bit of a demon in the wet conditions as well, so he'll be looking to. Oh, as we see,
Oh, no.
Goman does exactly what Samuel probably did the previous lap. Will he have time to rejoin? No, he has to wait, and that is unfortunate for him. He drops down to P4. Weatherburn inherits the lead after having to overtake almost nobody. Everybody just eating it off the track ahead of him. So he'll be more than happy with that.
I mean, sometimes that's just the game you play. You just got to make sure you keep it on the track safely, and you're right. So Weatherburn out front from Hermanto, Samuel, and Goman. Goman will still be on the podium at this rate because of Samuel's penalty. And Relahi is still a long way back.
Based on how things are going at the moment, I wouldn't discount Thurkelini from getting at the podium at the moment. So this race is certainly showing some errors in how much they can cost you just by a very, very small mistake.
And I mean, on the dries, it's not going to be easy. But the wet runners at the moment are lapping around 7 seconds a lap faster.
It's a fair advantage. So they would need about, let's say, 10 laps of wet running to truly make up the benefit of the pit stop.
There's not even going to be enough laps to run.
Oh, Hermanto wide. Will he rejoin? He does. Nice and safely. Samuel up the inside. Gets back the position from Hermanto back up into P2. Ali Karudin pointing out how good the Honda is in the wet. I think that is pretty obvious.
Rain looks like it may just be easing a touch now. So we're probably getting towards the end of this wet spell. As Samuel gets the puddle. He has hit the puddle. Well,
that's a big cut. That's a very risky cut. No drive through there. I think that is fairly lucky. But he will have to redress there, I would say.
He's got to concede that. He has to concede that position. If he stays ahead there, he's going to get a massive slap on the wrist. In fact, he's going to probably get a big spanking, not just a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, no, I mean, he lost. Yeah, surely he should be backing off anytime now. Wait for the replay to draw to an end. We are live again.
He's still there.
Go ahead.
What's he doing?
Why does it look like they're going so slowly? Why is just the perspective thing? Okay, there we go. There's a bit of speed now. So will he allow Hermanto to pass him on the straight is the question. I suspect if he does not do it this time, he will be getting a stern word from the stewards.
Here we go.
There we go. Not sure if that's intentional or if it's just straight line deficit, but anyway.
I reckon that was intentional based on how much Hermanto gained. Still would have liked to have seen that happen earlier. Here's Denaldi on Cook.
Aldi on those wet tyres, making them count. Viney and Vinton up ahead of him as well on the wets.
The wet weather is still sticking around though for these drivers, so it might just work out for him in the end.
I suspect they might have some toasty tyres by the end, but I think as it's going at the moment, it might play out in their favour.
The strategies.
Here, Viney running in P6. He's the top wet runner at the moment. He does have a 19-second gap to Rolahay, so we'll see how much that gap comes down in the next couple of laps. Rain is still coming down. Hermanto has had another spin. Oh, with a very, very nearly, that was a Bender Jesse hybrid rejoin there, but he does very well to pull it up.
Yeah, good awareness. But what that does do is it puts Goran back into the podium positions on track. But even then, with Samuel's penalty, Goran will still finish P2 at this rate.
Yep, absolutely. As we see, a bunch of shuffling going on back here. I think this is Cook losing out on the dry tyres to some drivers on wet tyres at the moment. Carmen and Johnson with the wets, I suspect, based on how quickly they drove past him. Yeah, you see Cook on the dries, those around him probably on the wets, and just completely outperforming the dry tyres at the moment.
As we see, Jesse McLean has done a unsafe rejoin of the chat.
As we see there, Viney on the next update, he has taken 8 seconds out of Rolahay in half a lap. So I suspect Pete Viney is potentially on for a podium here.
Yeah, he's looking super, super quick, and well, it's still raining, so he's got every opportunity.
Even if it stops raining immediately now, I don't think the wets will fall off too much towards the end. So this is going to be very, very, very fascinating towards the end of this race. Rain is still coming down, as you said. Rolahay 10 seconds ahead now, so Viney not taking quite as much out of him there.
Well, I mean, all he has to do is get within 10 seconds of Samuel and overtake at least Hermanto to get on the podium at this rate.
You say that like it's so easy.
Oh, but look here. Hello, here's a battle.
Well, how did Gorman drop
Car
this?
844 noted with a puncture. Supposedly.
Oof,
That
that's
is
Damiano
circling.
Berglini. Yep. Ooh, that is a risky spot to drive, especially in these conditions. Hopefully he keeps it out of the wall. Ooh, front right is not turning. Now, I'm not an expert on wheels, but as far as my limited understanding goes, they work better when they turn. Oh, as we see Gorman and Rolahay, they come together. That's allowed Viney to close right up to them immediately. What's happened here? Ah, oh, Gorman just a tiny little boop on the rear there, straightens him out.
But look at Rolahay and Viney, sorry. And Goman's got a drive-through penalty for track limits. Oh no.
Oof. Okay, it's all come apart very, very quickly there.
But here comes Viney. But the rain has stopped. The rain is finished. But would you look at that? Viney's pretty much within 10 seconds of Samuel. I reckon Viney is on for at least P2 here.
Yep, it's certainly looking likely.
And I mean, if Wellerburn makes any error out front, well, Viney, after a pit stop, would be
Hermanto already. So he's up into P3. He's less than 10 seconds behind Samuel. He's running net P2 at the moment.
And here
although
comes
he does have a... Yeah, I was just about to say, he does have a very aggressive looking Ventana behind him.
Yeah, Viney whiffed the 4D chest, but don't discount Vintana from this. He's looking very, very quick behind Viney.
Does Viney have that girl from the Red Bull strategy department on his pit wall that has allowed him to get into... Oh, as we see at the back there, Gorman having more dramas. Not sure if Thurcolini got somehow caught up in that, but Gorman will dive into the pitch to serve that drive-through. Bertolini will mercifully. Sorry.
A race that was going so well for Gorman is going to end very disappointing as we have a yellow flag up ahead. What is that for? Seems to have cleared up now.
Fowler has made his way back into P11 as well.
Oh, Ralahi has made an error. Ooh, simple error too.
Just wet things. It's so easy in these conditions. Once the rear lets go a little bit, it just does not stop going. It's so difficult to save it.
Dry tires on a wet track. Never gone in well, but holy crap, Viney is gaining so quick. He might be on for a win here, you never know.
I'm sure he'll be hoping for some more clouds at the moment.
Roman gets a 10-second penalty for causing a collision. But look at the gap. It's 11 seconds, 6 minutes to go. Viney might be on for a win here, an unlikely win. And Vintner, oh, don't discount him, he's right there. In fact, I reckon these two are going to have a real nice battle now, Viney and Vintner. But now they've just been helping each other out, get towards the front. Now, it's gloves off.
I think it's still probably circumspect to perhaps not battle too hard for the next lap or so. Try and close that gap to Weatherburn up ahead.
Oh, but Vincent is having a look. Unlucky, Nathan. Very unfortunate there for you. You're driving so well too. Like, you can take a lot out of that race. You were fantastic in very, very tricky conditions.
Look at the gap to Weatherburn. It's 7 seconds already. They're taking 2 seconds per sector out of Weatherburn at the moment. And as long as this track stays wet or damp, they're going to be in the ascension. Ascension? That's not a word. In the ascent here. So I think Weatherburn will be feeling rather nervous at the moment.
Malik has a drive-through penalty for track limits as well. But we have 5 minutes to go in this race. The gap is down to 5.6 seconds. Can Weatherburn use the weather in his name to help him, or will it be Viney reeling him in? And don't discount Vintner, right in the slipstream of the Honda.
Does it appear like Vintner is running a slightly higher wing at the moment? He's not making much impact on Viney down the straights.
Well, the higher wing might be helping him in these conditions, to be fair, for Vintner, but 4.4 seconds, it is closing and closing and closing, but the track is drying. You can start to see a bit of a dry line form.
And there is the first time that you can see Weatherburn on the same screen. He's out of screen now, but he was just a flash up ahead. That is going to encourage Viney to push even harder as soon as you see that car up ahead. That looks like Samuel going very, very slowly there, or is it just, yeah, it's the wet runners just making the dry runners look so slow.
Denoldi getting up into P4. It's a solid recovery from him after his, well, questionable decisions in race 1.
That's, yeah. Whoa,
oh, Weatherburn's around!
Weatherburn, no!
I reckon he's just lost it on his own.
Did he get puddled? I think he got puddled.
Yep. Yeah, he got
that's
puddled.
The puddle. That's the puddle.
They were lucky to avoid him.
Yeah, very good luck there. But this is now the battle for the lead.
Now it's really
Viney versus Benjamin Vintner, mano e mano, with 2 laps to go.
Well, the 4D chess strategy worked, and aren't we surprised? I mean, we weren't really expecting there to be as much rain as there really was.
The little widget kept updating and updating and changing, so it just got wetter and wetter, and yeah, they made the right call, clearly. But
yeah,
still a lot of pressure from Vintner on Viney. He's gonna have Another 2.5 minutes to try and stay ahead.
Well, I mean, you look at Denaldi. Denaldi is probably going to get a podium out of all of this.
Fowler, that's very dangerous up there, mate. Manages to get it back on track. Try around the outside of Bartlett here, coming down a Mistral. BMW speed is proving to be fairly effective, although they will be side by side. Oh, Vintner is ahead. Viney is in P2.
Vintner has taken the lead in a move at scene. Corner. Up the inside. Oh, that is so close between those two. But wow, Vintner. I did say gloves were off. Vintner using Viney to climb up the field and has gotten the move done on Viney. Wow.
Yep, so now it's return serve, 1 lap to go. Viney behind Vintner. Will he be able to get the move done, or will Vintner have enough in the tank? There's a little bit of a gap forming now.
Denaldi's about to get a move done on Weatherburn, I reckon. Yeah, down the straight. Denaldi. Oh, he's got a drive through!
Oh no, Michael. Oh, that is very unfortunate.
Because he can't fully serve that. There is no way he can serve that completely on the last lap.
That should convert to, what, a 30-second penalty? Or does it not do that
Oh,
anymore?
it converts to a large penalty here, I'm pretty sure.
As we see Herod, that will allow Herod to potentially get on the podium with a fantastic move there. Weatherburn defends well, but he's going to be under a fair amount of pressure come the Mistral straight here. Viney has lost contact a little bit, yeah.
But Weatherburn is holding. He wants it. He's trying to keep this podium. Oh, it's so close.
I just can't see him defending in that final sector. The wet tires are just so much better at the moment. Plus the speed differential here between the Merc and the Honda, as we see Johnson in the background with a move on Denaldi. Will Johnson it be 2 for 1?
He's going to try and get all 3 of them.
Might just well do that. He's on the outside of Herod. Will they be able to go side by side? Fusine.
Oh, Hasnam drive through as well for track limits. So, bunch of drivers getting track limits on this last lap.
Oh no, Fowler and Weatherburn has made contact. That is very unfortunate. Oh, a couple other people involved, but we do have the battle settling down here. Herod is still ahead of Johnson. Vintner is well clear of Viney. He will take that win, it would appear. But this battle is not quite settled yet, although it does seem as though Herod has done enough. And as Vintner comes around the final corner, I think this might be his first win in Sprint Series. I'm not 100% sure, but him and Viney have done absolutely fantastic to do the correct strategy call, pit early, get the wet tires on, get the 1-2. Matthew Herod crosses in P3, Luke Johnson in P4, Mike Denaldi behind him with that drive-through that converts to a 30-second penalty. Weatherburn crosses ahead of Fowler, but we do have Bartlett and Haslam in P6 and P7. Shady Samuel from leading the race to P10 with the fastest lap. His race fell apart rather quickly.
Oh my god, what a finish. Split Becketts. We did promise fireworks when we saw that rain on the radar, and it delivered.
Yeah, that was absolutely nail-biting stuff right until the end there. A very unfortunate race for Nathan Goman there. Did very well, but I agree with Octane Online Racing. That was my race of the season as well. They're just all-out action all around throughout the race. So fantastic driving by everybody. Few incidents here and there, but it's natural in these conditions.
Yeah, I think Becketts did a fantastic job to avoid having a much more calamitous race. They did a brilliant job. Like, driving in these wet conditions on dry tires is never easy. It's never enjoyable, but a lot of them stayed out there, stuck with it, and performed just superbly.
We see Benny V join us in chat. Great stuff, mate. Fantastic driving. As we see Lau there making contact with the wall, maybe exerting some frustration from the results in that race. But that is the end of Split Becketts for Season 10 of Octane Online Racing Sprint Series. Certainly a way to end it on a high note. The final results being Benjamin Wintener, Pete Viney, and Matthew Herod taking the overall. Obviously, Viney, Herod, and Fowler, your top three in the Pro-Am. Carmen Lau and Turcolini with his puncture in P3, and Brad Grant absolutely dominating the silver class again. Pole position, fastest lap, and winning the class. Fantastic performance there by him. Whew, I'm out of breath. That was certainly something to watch. Really enjoyed that. Thank you for being in the box with me, Alex. That was good fun.
Alright, thank you for coming into Ascari early. It was a fantastic night of racing, and I'm very fortunate to have stuck around for that one. That was super enjoyable.
Yeah, certainly a great way to end the season. Don't forget, Spa qualifying is on at the moment. We do have the Spa 12 hours on the 1st of October, which makes me very sad because Spa sucks. But anyway, it should be a fantastic day of racing. This is the end of this season for the Asia Pacific region. We do have EU and North America going on in a couple of hours. Don't forget to tune in to that. Don't forget to hit that like button, and we shall see you next time. Thanks, mate. That was fun.